boxes. Of course, we have our wonderful shade that provides us a little shade here inside the studio from a shade above Florida with our beautiful onside logo on it. But even through the shade, I can see into the stadium here. I see the pink, black, gray, and white seats just calling my name. Today, my friends, is April 8th, the year of our Lord, 2021. April 8th. We are 10 days away from the Inter Miami CF home opener, which is also the season opener. Opening the season at home in this building. It's going to be a limited crowd. I think about 6,000, but that's, obviously we're still doing our social distancing thing due to COVID. This isn't Texas. We still have some precautions here, but there's going to be, nonetheless, a nice number of fans are going to be able to be in the building enjoying some Inter Miami CF football with us come April 18th when the team takes on Los Angeles Galaxy. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Right? I mean, eventually at the end of the year, last year, very end of the season, we were able to bring, about 2,000, 2,500 fans into the stadium for the final couple games. In fact, to illustrate just how dedicated the Inter Miami CF supporters are, the last home game that we played here last year, the FC Cincinnati game, we played the game during a tropical storm. I was in the stadium for it. The weather sucked. It was incredibly windy, incredibly rainy, and yet there was still over 2,000 fans in their seats enjoying the football despite the inclement weather. And so that it just goes to show you the dedication. So far in the existence of this franchise, we have not been able to host a capacity crowd because the pandemic started and the lockdown started before we had the home opener for the club last year, which would have been, a capacity crowd, would have been standing room only. It would have been an absolute gorgeous sight and gorgeous sounds here. So the pandemic struck at the worst possible time. I mean, obviously, listen, it affected a lot bigger things than sports. I'm not going to trivialize it and make it all about my local sports teams. But when it comes to the timing for Inter Miami CF to be able to host a full crowd and have a real home opener for the franchise, we did not get that opportunity because the lockdown and the suspension of the league happened to happen just a few days before the home opener for last year. So it's going to be a lot of fun welcoming in the people. I welcome in you guys. Love the community with the listeners. You guys can text the show. Text is always 24/7. The text line is always open at 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. Marla writes in, pink, black, gray, and white seats are still visible beyond the pink and black shade. Yeah, they are. I'm going to, maybe you guys who watch some of the other shows, because I always, for those watching us on YouTube, I always sit where I'm facing the window because I can get a little claustrophobic. I like to be able to look out, like being able to look out the window to see the Fort Lauderdale skyline off in the distance, to see the stadium here. I always sit at the side of the room where I'm looking outside. Some of the hosts, like I think Kai, if I'm not mistaken, sits on the other side where he's looking at the wall. But that means when he's on camera on YouTube, you can see the shade behind him. I don't know why anyone would sit staring at the wall when you could sit looking out the window. That's more my style. But I'm going to take a picture of the window shade here. Maybe I'll tweet it out during the next commercial break. But yeah, you guys be like Marla and text us at 844-416-8123. Are we up on YouTube yet, Alex? I'm getting the big thumbs up. I'm going to log on during the commercial break and start chatting with the people. So we're up and running, live show, live stream on YouTube right now. Go to YouTube, whether you have it on an app or go to youtube.com. Just search Onside Radio. Please subscribe to the station. We're trying to get our next milestone would be 1,000 subscribers. We've only been doing YouTube streams for about a month here, and we do Twitch as well if you prefer that. But I'm always very active on the YouTube chat during the show. If you watch us live, subscribe to our channel, watch us live, and you can, if you have a Google account, because I've been told you can't do this if you don't have a Google account, but anybody with a Gmail, you have a Google account. So if you have one of those accounts, you can chat with us live during the show, which is a lot of fun as well. because not only can you chat with me, but you can chat with each other. So even if, like, during a segment, I may not be looking at the chat for the entire show, you guys can, like, have conversations with each other, and then I always read it during the breaks, and I chat, on the computer, and I've said it, and I'll say it again, every single day, at least one topic from the YouTube chat has turned into a topic on the show. So we're very interactive with that. 5:20 today, we're going to talk some Florida Panthers with Jameson Olive from FloridaPanthers.com. Panthers made a trade today. Don't look at this individually, because I think the trade they made today, one of the big goals was to clear some salary cap space to make a bigger move before the trade deadline on Monday. I've been told the Panthers could be seeking an expensive defenseman, or I've been told they could be looking at left winger Taylor Hall, who is going to be traded from Buffalo, and he's really good. He's a sniper. He can score. That would be a big addition, my friends. That would be a big addition. And, he's not been at the job for very long, but I trust Bill Zito, the Panthers GM. He's done so much good in such a short period of time since taking over for Dale Talon at the end of the Panthers mini playoff run. I guess I shouldn't even call it a run, but the Panthers had a play-in series that they lost in the playoffs last August, and Bill Zito was given the job, the GM job around that time, and he's done so much good for this franchise already. And I love the fact that the Panthers are being aggressive and they're buyers here coming up at the deadline, because they know how close this team is. This team is so close to being able to compete for a Stanley Cup and to compete for a deep playoff run. They're not sitting on their asses. They're not strictly satisfied with the status quo. They're really trying to make a dramatic move that can put this team over the top, and I really appreciate that. So Jameson Olive's going to join us at 5:20. 4:30, we're going to talk a little Miami Heat with Alphonse Sidney. You may know him as Alf954, although I think he recently moved to the 561. I don't know if he's going to change his Twitter handle to Alf561. But Alphonse Sidney from Hangover Time on Miami Heat Beat is going to join us at 4:30 to talk a little NBA and some Heat basketball. Heat have the Lakers tonight. The Lakers, who have nobody healthy. I want to punish them. I want to punish the Lakers tonight, and we'll get Alf's take on whether or not that's going to happen. I also want to get Alf's take on Kawhi Leonard, because there's more and more noise, more and more smoke about him being a target this summer, because he's got that opt-out available with the Los Angeles Clippers. In the 3 o'clock hour, we're going to talk some Miami Dolphins and some NFL with Kyle Krabs. For those who listen to the show every week, and I know that there are, because I read the texts we get, I read the comments we get in the YouTube chat. I understand that the biggest buzz topic for our listeners is anything Miami Dolphins football. I know we've got a lot of great Heat fans listening, some Panthers fans, even some Marlins fans. And the Marlins fans, by the way, you got to be listening to our dude Alex Aguirre and Christian Chase on Saturdays 1 to 3 p.m. for Deep Into the Count, because that gives you all the baseball you can handle. So make sure you listen to that. But I noticed that when most of the text messages we get and most of the buzz that we get on the YouTube chat is Dolphins NFL draft. And so I know that's why a lot of people come to this station. And, for those who listen to me every week, you know that it's must listen each and every Thursday when Kyle Krabs joins us. Kyle Krabs is the lead analyst for the Draft Network. He is the editor of DolphinsWire.com, which is an excellent website. I have read and supported Dolphins Wire through various different editors. I mean, our good pal Antoine Staley, who, no longer writes with Dolphins Wire, but he was the editor there before Kyle Krabs took it over. So Dolphins Wire has been a trusted source of information and updates and Dolphins analysis for me for several years. And Kyle Krabs runs that site. He does a fantastic job. So we're going to go deep into the Dolphins with Kyle Krabs in the 3 o'clock hour. I'm going to give you guys a little list because I noticed, and I'm going to give you a couple lists today. In the upcoming segment, I'm going to give you my 3 reasons why the national media shits on Tua Tagovailoa so much. So stay tuned for that. That's coming your way in about 10 minutes. Let me give you another list now. Alex, I heard Big O mention a story, and I did a little bit more digging on this after he brought it up. I feel really bad for our guy, Jimmy Butler. I love Jimmy. I didn't realize until today that he has been ghosted by Selena Gomez. Do you remember the stories from a few months ago? It became gossip fodder, tabloid fodder, that Jimmy Butler and Selena Gomez, who I used to love, I mean, she's not only is she good looking, she always struck me as being like a really nice, charming woman, a good sense of humor, good wit, all that. She and Jimmy were seeing each other a little bit. I don't think they were ever official. I don't think they were ever officially an item. But Selena Gomez and Jimmy Butler were, I think, more than friends for a little bit. And it's come to my attention, courtesy of Rob Littell from Black Sports Online. Not only did Selena Gomez stop seeing Jimmy Butler, she has reportedly ghosted him. If you've ever been ghosted before, I've also ghosted people, but I've been on both sides of it, right? If you've ever been ghosted before, it's really frustrating because, you're seeing somebody, you're talking, you're chatting, you're having a good time, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, they don't answer your messages. They don't answer your calls. And, depending on how much of a creep you are, you may, keep sending more and more messages and calling more and more, or you might give up pretty quickly. I feel like Jimmy Butler, because he's a man's man, probably gave up pretty quickly. I don't think Jimmy was leaving any, desperate messages Selena, I know it's the 14th time I've called you today, but I love you. Baby, please return why aren't you talking to me? Return my call. I don't think Jimmy left any messages like that. Jimmy's a man's man. In fact, Jimmy, probably the first time she didn't call him back, he's like, screw her, forget about her, I'm moving on to bigger, better things. Yet still, I find out that Selena Gomez ghosted Jimmy Butler. That's blatant disrespect. You know what I'm going to do, Alex? I'm putting Selena Gomez on my musicians shit list. She has now been canceled by Donno. Would you like to know who else is on that list? Because it's a growing list now of musicians who I'm canceling. So the newest entry, Selena Gomez. You can't disrespect Jimmy Butler and get away with it. And according to Rob Littell, she's now dating a well-known rapper. Now, he didn't even mention who the rapper was. If you did mention his name, I probably wouldn't know who it is anyway. So it doesn't really matter if you mention it or not. But Selena Gomez, she is canceled for ghosting Jimmy Butler. I'm done. I'm boycotting her music. I can't name a single one of her songs, by the way, but I'm boycotting her music from here on out. The next musician that has been canceled by me, Lil Nas X, for endorsing the Satan shoes. That was enough. I'd seen enough when he endorsed Satan shoes. No more. Number 3, this goes back a little ways. Alex, you're a young guy. Have you ever heard of Milli Vanilli? Do you remember them?
Yes.
Okay, so you do remember them. They got caught lip syncing, and it turns out they weren't even the guys whose voices were on their tracks. They were complete frauds, Rob and Fab. They got caught lip syncing. I think it was on Saturday Night Live in 1990. And Milli Vanilli, I boycott them. I cancel them. I cannot support their music when they were not even who they said they were, okay? Number 4, you know who else I've canceled? Another musician that's on my shit list. Taylor Swift. I don't like the fact that she writes songs about her ex-boyfriends and airs their business in public. You know why I don't like it? Because you're only getting her side of the story, right? When she's writing songs trashing John Mayer and didn't she date one of the Jonas brothers? I can't tell them apart. She might have dated all 3 of them for all I know.
I think Joe Jonas.
So she's writing songs
I have
like
no idea.
You just threw out the only name you could think of. She writes songs where she's trashing John Mayer and Joe Jonas, and she's making these guys sound terrible. I don't know what their side of the story is. Maybe John Mayer dated her for a couple weeks. This girl's a freaking nightmare. I don't know their side of the story. I don't like the fact. I feel like Taylor Swift, she violates the relationship code, right? Especially when you're famous. You can't just be airing out your dirty laundry like that. I do not like that, okay? So she's canceled. You know who else is canceled? This is the 5th and final name on my list. I thought I liked her because I enjoyed her performance during the Super Bowl last year, but it's come to my attention that Shakira is a Juventus supporter. She's canceled. She's done. No more. I cannot support her music. I'm still okay with J-Lo. I don't know what Italian soccer club J-Lo does or doesn't support, but Shakira supports Juventus. She's done, okay? So Shakira for supporting Juve, Taylor Swift for violating the relationship code, Milli Vanilli for being frauds, Lil Nas X for endorsing Satan, and Selena Gomez for ghosting Jimmy Butler. Those are the 5 musicians I can never and will never support again. They are dead to me, all right? All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about why the national media gives Tua Tagovailoa such a hard time all the time. You're listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida. We are OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Listen to OnsideRadio.com anywhere by downloading the MyTuner Radio app in your app store. Or go to MyTunerRadio.com on your web browser. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida sports leader.
Hello, Inter Miami CF fans! Download the Drink AR app and play inside a first-of-its-kind virtual soccer stadium, hosted by Bodega Trevento and Inter Miami CF, and celebrate your passion for soccer from the comfort of your own home. Find the download links on our Instagram account at Treventus and get our wines delivered straight to your home with a discount for all Inter Miami CF fans. Discover Trevento, a shared passion.
Let's raise a cup to the first among us who put themselves last. To the risk takers, the mask makers, the heroes on the front line and online. To the ones keeping shelves full and keeping us hopeful. To those who don't stop and those making all the stops. To the ones who pick up, suit up, and never let us down. From all of us at Dunkin' to all the heroes keeping everyone running, we thank you.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental disorder that requires a comprehensive approach to treatment. Learn more at moretoadhd.com. This message brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
With Make-A-Wish, the impossible becomes possible. A girl battling cancer can become a race car driver battling the course. The boy showing all the nurses his fire trucks can take the helm of a real one. Wishes can give kids with critical illnesses the strength to keep fighting, get better, and grow up.
Where there's a wish, there's a way.
Wishes need you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
You know, I know when you watch NFL Network, and even more so when you watch ESPN, I feel like the NFL Network analysts are a bit more level-headed, but you watch ESPN a lot, you listen to some of the national shows, and I mean, outside of Onside Radio, there really aren't a whole lot of local shows left. I mean, outside of OnsideRadio.com, you're basically just getting national stuff 24 hours a day. There's like 2 local hosts left on 2 different stations. It is what it is, man. But, you know, if you listen and watch these national shows and the national talking heads, you hear a lot of Tua Tagovailoa disrespect. It's been a common thread. Now, I do like to point out when people from the national scene are complimentary of Tua. Kurt Warner, was really complimentary of Tua when he made that 3-part series on his YouTube channel. Here's another one. Tre'Davious White, Bills cornerback. He was on the Chris Collinsworth podcast featuring Richard Sherman. And even the questions that these guys get asked, it's very obvious the bias against Tua, right? Because, like, how asinine is this question even, right? Because when the Dolphins traded down from 3 to ultimately end up with the number 6 pick, if that's not a loud and clear sign that they're not drafting a quarterback, I don't know what is. I mean, if you want to draft a quarterback in the first round, why would you trade from 3 to 6? At number 3, you're going to have more choice of quarterback. At number 6, none of the top guys might be left. There could be 4 quarterbacks off the board already by number 6. So just the fact that these questions keep getting asked goes to show you how stupid some of these people are. Like, Stephen A. Smith said a couple weeks ago that, you know, when the Dolphins traded down that this shows they're not sold on Tua. So 2 + 2 = 6. How do you get that? Like, how do you come up with that answer, Stephen A.? If they weren't sold on Tua, they would have stayed at number 3, and then you can get Justin Fields. Like, what are you talking about, bro? So Chris Collinsworth asked Tre'Davious White of the Bills if he felt the Dolphins could take a quarterback at number 6 overall. I wish Tre'Davious White had slapped him in the face. I think they were doing the interview over computer, so he couldn't have physically assaulted him. I kind of wish he had, because it's a really stupid question. But Tre'Davious White said, quote, "I don't think so. I just feel like they have so much confidence in Tua. You know, go back to last year, even when Fitz was coming in and relieving him and winning games, the next week they would always go back to Tua. They got their guy. I think that they're going to give him the whole year of just, the whole offseason to get more comfortable and do his thing. Like you said, Miami has a nice team." He said how they orchestrated things. They have a nice defense. They have not a lot of pieces on the outside. They just added Will Fuller, a fast guy. They have Devontae Parker over there. He has weapons, he being Tua. And I think that that's just going to take him getting comfortable. We know what he can do, what he did at Alabama the last 3 years, and then coming in and having the injury. Going forward, I think Tua will be Miami's guy. How about that? They invested a lot into him, and they got pieces around him. This is the year that they figure out if he can carry a team, and I think he will. Wow! That's really complimentary from a rival player, a rival cornerback inside the division, saying some really nice things about Tua Tagovailoa. I don't see why it's so difficult for the national media to see that, and even some members of the local media. I don't think Armando Salguero is the biggest Tua Tagovailoa fan. So, I don't know. Alex, tell me if I'm missing anything on this list. These are my top 3 reasons why the national media is so disrespectful to Tua Tagovailoa. Number 1, hot takes are good for ratings, okay? Retweets and buzz. You overreact to the good and you overreact to the bad. If someone plays well, you anoint them as the best freaking thing since sliced bread, right? Justin Herbert's a Hall of Famer already is the conversation that people are having, right? And when Tua doesn't have as good of a year, then, he's a bust. They need to look elsewhere. So hot takes are good for ratings, right? And I get it, right? I've been in meetings before. Now Onside Radio is different because we're trying to do something different here. It's why I have license, when I feel like it. I can talk about the UFC. I can talk more hockey than they talk on the other stations. I can talk more about soccer than they do on the other stations. So we don't focus on the hot takey stuff here as much, but I've been in on these conversations doing radio before, and not only do they tell you to play the hits, which is basically repeating the same thing over and over again for 3 hours or 4 hours, however long you're on, but then they also tell you, make sure you always have a hot take on something, even if you don't necessarily, I'm not saying if you don't necessarily believe it. I don't think anyone should lie, but basically make sure you have the most strong caricature type take on everything, okay? And so I know the TV guys follow these same rules. So hot takes are good for clicks and they're good for ratings. Number 2, why the media shits so much on Tua. And I think people interpret this a little bit wrong, all right? But Tagovailoa getting benched twice last season, that becomes ammunition for the Tua slander, all right? Because the lazy analysis is this. Well, if he's getting benched, he must not be that good. Easy to surmise there, right? If he gets benched, he might not be that good. They're ignoring the fact that he was a rookie last year, and oftentimes rookies have to take some lumps and learn. Plus, guys, the Dolphins were trying to win games. You were in the unique situation of being a team that drafted a top 5 quarterback, and yet the team was pretty good. You finished with 10 wins last year. You almost made the playoffs, all right? So this was not like a developmental thing where it's a really bad team, so you got to make sure your quarterback learns, even if it means losing games. No. Brian Flores' primary objective last year wasn't to develop Tua. That was an objective. That wasn't the primary objective. The primary objective last year was to get victories. He was trying to win games, make the playoffs. They were really close to doing that, and then hopefully develop Tua in the process. But they weren't going to sacrifice victories to develop Tua. If Tua is out there taking his lumps and having a poor game, the objective wasn't, okay, well, we need to keep him in there to face more adversity and lose. No, the objective was, well, hey, if we can bring a closer off the bench who might be able to give us a different look here, we're going to try and do that because we want to win this game and make the playoffs. So the Dolphins had a different approach than, let's say, the Chargers. It was a lot different for a team like the Chargers, and I'm not taking away anything from the year that Justin Herbert had. He was really good last year, okay? But it's not to say he was perfect. He got shellacked by the New England Patriots. They got shut out. I think it was 45-0. For a team like the Chargers, who were not in the playoff race at any point in the year, developing their rookie was more important than winning games because they weren't good enough anyway to be a playoff team, so they didn't have to worry about benching their guy to get victories because wins were not the primary objective. The primary objective was preparing their probable franchise quarterback for the future. And then the third reason, and this ties into number 2 a little bit, what I was just saying there, why the media shits so much on Tua. Yeah, Justin Herbert, by a lot of different measures, had a better season than Tua. I mean, sure, when the guy who's taken 1 pick after you has a better statistical season and wins Rookie of the Year, you're taking 5, he's taking number 6, then what's the lazy media going to do? The lazy media is going to praise Herbert, and they're going to slander Tua in the process. How come Tua wasn't Rookie of the Year and the guy picked 1 spot after him was? So a lot of this just comes down to low-hanging fruit and a lack of perspective. The lack of perspective, we talked about it yesterday. The selective memory of these people who completely forgot about how well Tua performed against Arizona. They completely forgot about when he went toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes in a shootout between the Dolphins and the Chiefs. Completely forgot about those games, and they only focused on the negatives. They only focused on the low-hanging fruit. So you have that, plus you have the comparisons between Tua and Justin Herbert, and the knee-jerks are going to cause some of this nonsense. Herman says, I'm tired of the media bashing Tua without any good reason. Like Big O says, they're just lazy media. Bromar Smelly, though, says Tua played like crap last year. Sometimes he did, Bromar. Sometimes he played like crap. Sometimes he played really well. I can forgive him for having some rookie growing pains when he had a lack of weapons and a lack of health before the season. This coming year is going to show us a lot of what we need to know. So, yeah, he did play like crap at times, also played really well at times, and people seem to forget about that. We're going to talk with Kyle Krabs from DolphinsWire.com and the Draft Network when we come back here on Onside Radio. Hey, Onside Radio understands that gaming is a big part of the sports landscape. That's why every day we keep you updated with some of the latest gaming news with Onside Radio's E-Minute, hosted by Toast, Kai, and Michael Christian. If you miss it, it's podcasted daily. So search Onside Radio on all platforms, subscribe, rate, and review. OnsideRadio.com, the station gamers call home.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Listen to every Inter-Miami CF match on your home for La Rosa Negra, OnSideRadio.com. Catch us every day on the MyTuner Radio app. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
The 25-year-old was reportedly arrested this past week near Vail, where a sheriff's deputy said he saw Camargo's car speeding and changing lanes erratically, which is always really smart. When you're carrying a lot of drugs, you want to speed, you want to swerve, you want to look like you're drunk and high and all that. You want to cause as much attention. You want to bring as much attention to you when you're carrying a load of drugs. That's just a tip for you, thieves out there, you drug dealers, you criminals. Bring all the attention possible to you while you're committing a crime. It's really, really smart.
The Onside Zone with Big O, only on OnSideRadio.com.
Join the Inter-Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common, preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
He has an overbite that makes him look like a cartoon character, a slightly crooked eye, and an uncommonly wrinkly neck. In the right light, he can look a little like a garden gnome, and he'll wear a bow tie just because. Sure, you might call him a little quirky, but that's exactly what makes him so perfect. Tuna is a 3-year-old Chihuahua Dachshund mix with more than 700,000 followers on Instagram, and it all started because he was adopted. You can't buy a best friend like Tuna, but you can adopt one. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnSideRadio.com sports update.
The Florida Panthers have made a 5-player trade with the Chicago Blackhawks. The Panthers are sending Brett Connolly, Riley Stillman, rights to Henrik Borgstrom, and a 7th-round pick to Chicago. And the Panthers are receiving Lucas Carlson and Lucas Walmark. The Panthers are back on the ice tonight against the Carolina Hurricanes. Puck drops at 7 p.m. And the Miami Heat host the LA Lakers tonight as well. Tip-off is at 7:30 p.m. at the AAA. The Miami Marlins got swept by the St. Louis Cardinals and lost last night 7-0. The Fish open a weekend series with the New York Mets this afternoon. First pitch was at 1:10 p.m. and Nick Neidert had the start for the Miami Marlins, pitching 4 2/3 scoreless innings. The Marlins lead 2-1 now in the bottom of the 6th inning. Kevin Durant made a perfect return last night, going 5 for 5 from the field, scoring 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists in 19 minutes, and the Nets routed the Pelicans 139-111. On the eve of the Masters, the LA County Sheriff's Office has said excessive speed was the cause of Tiger Woods' February crash. Woods' SUV was traveling from 84 to 87 miles per hour in a 45-mile-per-hour speed limit. The SUV was going 75 miles per hour when it hit the tree. No traffic citations were issued. This is South Florida's home for local sports talk. This is OnSideRadio.com.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
One of the reasons why Thursday is such a cool day of the week, maybe the only reason why Thursday is so awesome, is we get to talk to our friend Kyle Krabs, editor of DolphinsWire.com, lead analyst from the Draft Network. Kyle, I hope you're having a great week, man. And we're, I think now, exactly 3 weeks away now. The draft is right around the corner. How are you?
3 weeks away, and you just put a ton of pressure on me to deliver a phenomenal segment. So I appreciate that. Hope you're doing well, Alex.
Well, if it's not a phenomenal segment, I'll just blame myself for asking crappy questions. So don't even worry about it. The pressure is off. There is no pressure on you. You know, I wanted to start on something that's really not Dolphins related, but I wanted your opinion on this because I know that you really like Justin Fields. We've talked about him a lot, how you feel that he's the second best quarterback in this draft. And I tend to agree. I may be a little bit biased because I watched a lot more Justin Fields in season last year than I watched Zach Wilson. But there was a real firestorm that came out of what Dan Orlovsky said about Fields on the Pat McAfee show last week, saying like, hey, even though I don't agree with this, but some NFL executives have told me they question his work ethic. And there's been a lot of pushback from that comment where I think people feel that Orlovsky might be getting used to spread misinformation, that some teams who may want Justin Fields to fall farther in the draft may be, purposely slandering his work ethic when it might really not apply. So I want your opinion not only on the report, if you think this could be misinformation, but also your experience studying and covering Justin Fields. Do you have any questions about his work ethic?
First and foremost, as it pertains to Fields' work ethic, absolutely not. He was on the forefront of the Big Ten pushing to play this season. He made it very apparent when the season was up in the air that he wanted to play. I watched him get blasted against Clemson in the college football semifinals and take a significant body blow in which you could tell he was hurt, and he showcased great mental toughness. You even go back to Michigan in 2019, and he got hit low in that game, in the middle of that game, and it looked like he potentially tore up his knee, and he missed, I think, 2 plays. He came back out on the first play. He came back in the game after getting his knee looked at, and he rolls out to his left and he throws a rope for a touchdown. So from like a competitor standpoint, a mental toughness standpoint, I have no questions with Justin Fields. And I think the thing that bothered a lot of people the most about what Dan Orlovsky said was you have to understand why people would tell you certain things. And within 24 hours of him going on the Pat McAfee show and sharing what he was presumably told, he had done follow-up because of the pushback, and he talked to John Beck and he talked to people from Ohio State, and they both immediately axed that. So if somebody tells you something like that, what was preventing you from going directly to people familiar with the source instead of third-hand information and asking them before you put that out on the airwaves? So that kind of seemed like an irresponsible use of something that was told to him. You can't really help what somebody tells you, but what you choose to do with that information while you understand this is a misinformation time of year was probably, from my point of view, the most egregious thing about it.
That's a great point. And that, in talking to you about it and also talking with Omar Kelly and some other people last Friday, it's changing my perspective because, Kyle, my immediate reaction when I saw the pushback and Kirk Herbstreit had really strong criticism for Orlovsky in the immediate aftermath. And when I first saw the story, my initial thought was, why are people getting mad at Orlovsky for doing his job, that he's reporting what he was told, which is his job? But then at the same time, what you said there makes a lot of sense, because if you're really doing your job as a reporter, and that's not necessarily his full-time job title as reporter.
Right.
I think it's part of what he does because he has access to a lot of information given the connections he has as a former NFL player. But you're exactly right that part of your responsibility when you're reporting is not only to say what you've been told, but also to verify and cross-check that information. And he did it after the fact. But if he had done that initially, he wouldn't have gotten himself in hot water in the first place. So I think that's a fair point. Do you see this a lot, by the way? Because you cover the draft very closely. Do you feel like people ever try to use you for smoke screens? Do you see that happening a lot this time of year?
All the time.
Wow.
And I've been in it long enough, and we're well enough connected, and we know enough people, and we have a big enough platform with the Draft Network, which is where I do my draft coverage and have for a couple of years now, that, you even have people that are invested in certain players having success that are reaching out to you, asking you to put some kind of tweet or talk about a segment and take a certain angle or slant with it because they feel like it's going to help their player. And that's kind of just like the misinformation side of things. And We try our best to absolutely stay out of that. And that's why we really try not to, at least at TDN, get too much into the breaking news side of things, because that's so messy. We want to stay rooted in player evaluation and stay true to what we see when we watch and study the players and do the background. So it's something we do our absolute best to stay out of. But if it's happening with us as a third-party site that covers NFL draft evaluations, you can bet if you're in big media, that kind of stuff comes across your plate probably on a daily basis.
What do you think the Atlanta Falcons do at number 4? Do they take a quarterback? Do they avoid quarterback because Matt Ryan's contract is so leveraged? Do they trade down to a team that wants a quarterback? Because to me, I look at number 4, and we talked a little bit last week, you and I, about San Francisco with number 3, so I don't need to double dip on that with you. But as far as number 4, what do you expect the Falcons to do with that pick?
Man, I wish I had a better sense on what they were doing. Them and Detroit are kind of the two logjam spots where I have a hard time kind of wrapping my head around what those teams are going to do. You get a really good sense of 3 quarterbacks in the first 3 picks. I have a fairly good sense on the direction Cincinnati's going to go. I'd like to think, depending on who's on the board, I have a reasonable sense of who the Dolphins would be considering with their pick, and then had some good intel since the Sam Darnold move has happened with Carolina that's given you a little bit of clarity on like the top 8, but Atlanta and Detroit can completely throw a wrench in, because, all the information you could get and be told behind the scenes could be correct, but if one domino doesn't fall the right way, then it impacts 3 teams behind you. So Atlanta is in that spot. I think what's interesting is you hear Chris Mortensen this past week, and he's talking about how general manager wants to get a quarterback situation settled for the long term, and the head coach Arthur Smith reportedly thinks Matt Ryan has 2+ years under his belt. I look at this situation for Atlanta, and if Trey Lance, the quarterback from North Dakota State, is on the board for them, that to me, he's tailor-made for Arthur Smith's offense relative to what they did in Tennessee with Ryan Tannehill, as far as using the quarterback as an athlete, weaponizing his legs a little bit, a lot of back to the defense, play action. Trey Lance did all that at North Dakota State, but he's only started 17 games, and he's coming from an FCS program. So if you have Matt Ryan and you're kind of locked into Matt Ryan, this is the perfect kind of situation for you to take advantage of the fact that you're picking 4. You have a toolsy player who you're not going to be rushed to put into the starting lineup. He can redshirt for an entire season, and I understand that's not something that happens a ton this time of year, or this day and age, but at the same time, you are ideally, if you're Atlanta, never picking this high again with a new general manager and a new head coach. So if Trey Lance is there for them, my gut tells me they will look real hard into taking Trey Lance, taking advantage of that. And then they did restructure the Matt Ryan contract. Matt Ryan's not going anywhere this offseason, but they could trade him after June 1st in 2022 and save $23 million against the cap. Now, they will take on a massive dead cap hit because of the way they restructured the contract, but you can split that across 2 seasons if you trade him after June 1st. So there is an avenue for this to be one and done with Matt Ryan in Atlanta based on the way that the cap situation lays out. And if Trey Lance needs an extra year, you can keep Matt Ryan for an extra year. So that's kind of where my head's at with Atlanta is I can kind of get behind this being a quarterback spot at 4 if it's the right guy.
I love it. We're joined here by Kyle Krabs. And in fact, I want to play something for you. If Alex, if you can pull this up, do you remember the clip from D'Orlando Ledbetter, who was on with Big O this week? I want you to hear this and maybe comment on it. And this is a little bit in line with what you're saying, but here was D'Orlando Ledbetter was on with Big O this week on the Falcons beat, and he this is what he told O about what he's expecting from the Falcons at number 4.
Yeah, I think they're going offensive line. The Penei Sewell kid is considered a difference maker, can start at all 4 positions, is legitimate, and they blocking has been a problem here in Atlanta. Anything else would be a luxury item. You can wait on the quarterback. You have a tight end. I mean, Matt Ryan's getting sacked 40 times a year now for the last 3 years, at least 40. 50 and 2 years ago. So, and they don't have a blocking that's good enough to open up any holes in the run game. So, if this kid is as good as everybody say he is, he's the pick at 4, and they're throwing smoke screens on these visits to Jamar Chase and, to let everybody know that they like Pitts too and so forth and so on. And then Jalen Fields will certainly be a good popular pick here, but they don't really need him, especially after Matt Ryan was restructured and his contracts are, in the 40 million salary cap hits for the next couple of years.
So if Trey Lance is not still there by any chance, although I think he probably would be, or they just decide not to go quarterback, do you think Sewell could be their guy?
Yeah, I think you can make a strong case for Sewell. You can make a strong case for Kyle Pitts, and I think their most attractive option in that scenario is to trade down. So,
yeah.
I hear, hey, Atlanta, I'm hearing that Penei Sewell is an attractive fit for them. The blocking hasn't been good, and I'm sure that's something that he's picked up on throughout the course of his time on the beat. But if you look at it from the other angle and say, okay, what is the benefit to a team like Atlanta teasing that they like Penei Sewell as a team that's trading down? Well, who's sitting right behind Atlanta that's presumed to have Penei Sewell on their short list?
Yep.
It's
Cincinnati.
the Cincinnati Bengals. So it would benefit Atlanta to get some stuff out there that they like Penei Sewell and that Penei Sewell is on their short list, knowing that Cincinnati is sitting at 5 and is right there on the doorstep with him being like one of 2 options for them to take between him and Jamar Chase. So if a team set like, say, Carolina, they want to continue to be aggressive hypothetically, or some other team falls in love with Penei Sewell and they see a trade-up opportunity with Atlanta trying to move down, and if they're not going to get the bite on the quarterback market now because Carolina has moved out with Sam Darnold, okay, how else can we make this 4th pick enticing? Well, Cincinnati's presumed to be tied to Sewell, so let's tease an interest in Sewell and see if we can get anybody that wants to bite on that one.
That makes a lot of sense. Oh, and I wanted to ask you in closing here, because you'd mentioned earlier that you had a pretty good handle on what Cincinnati might do, and I think you tipped your hand to that being Penei Sewell right there. So you also mentioned having a decent handle on the Dolphins. So what are you thinking for the Dolphins at number 6?
The closer we get, and Miami has been a team that you look back over what they've done, 2020 notwithstanding, because you knew coming in, you knew they wanted to take a quarterback, and you knew they wanted to take an offensive tackle. Those were 2 things that were reported like a month out for the Dolphins, as they had positional needs they wanted to check the boxes on, and sure enough, at 5-18, they took a quarterback and an offensive tackle. Think back to 2016. Was offensive tackle the most pressing need in 2016, or did the best player available in Laramie Tunsil simply fall into their lap? Think back to 2018. Was Minkah Fitzpatrick on their short list of positional needs, or did the best player available just fall into their lap?
Good point. BPA.
So I look at Kyle Pitts. If he's there, he is the best player available, in my opinion. And I know from a skill set perspective, he is the most rare talent at his respective position. And the Dolphins have seen both Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tua Tagovailoa in 2020 when they had 2 tight ends on the field. Both of those players, both of those quarterbacks, passing efficiencies went up. The multiplicity of having multiple tight ends on the field. So I'd connect those dots together. And if Kyle Pitts is there, the way I'm leaning right now is the expectation would be that you draft the best player available in Kyle Pitts.
I love it. This is great stuff, as always. You guys want to make sure you follow Kyle on Twitter at Grinding the Tape. Check out his work at the Draft Network, where he's director of scouting, lead editor of Dolphins Wire. Also, if you're looking for Dolphins audio content every day, he does a great job on Locked On Dolphins, really good podcast. I listen to it often, and the Draft Dudes podcast as well. Kyle, thank you so much, and enjoy your weekend coming up.
Hey, thank you. You too, Alex.
Good stuff there. And, hey, he delivered. I put a lot of pressure on him at the beginning, but he hit it out of the park. A couple of interesting food questions came in on the YouTube chat from our guy Herman. I want to address that when we come back. Hey, Heat and NBA fans, catch Ira Winderman here exclusively at OnsideRadio.com with our Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat reports. Catch Ira throughout the week at OnsideRadio.com and when news breaks. Basketball fans know Onside Radio is the place to get the insight you need.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. You can connect with us at OnSideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnSideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
For over 20 years, Mr. Glass has been committed to the safety and satisfaction of our clients. Our products are the culmination of innovative engineering, aesthetic appeal, and the highest levels of quality. Through our legacy, Mr. Glass strives to impart the true meaning of quality, service, and sustainability to new generations. Reputation, experience, and trust is why clients choose Mr. Glass. Live the future now. Locate a dealer near you today.
At Baptist Health, we are ready
to serve, to treat,
to safely proceed with your procedure.
We're ready for ER visits and office visits
with skilled surgeons,
advanced medicine,
and multidisciplinary teams.
We're ready for new arrivals
and new recoveries.
We are ready.
We're ready to diagnose, treat, and manage
anything that comes our way
with exceptional care and comfort.
With the same preparedness and compassion you've come to expect from Baptist Health.
And we are ready.
We're ready.
We're ready
to care for you.
Can I get a captain?
Captain and what?
Captain and Ginger.
I can't hear you.
Captain and Ginger. He was a Captain and Ginger. Captain and Ginger. He was a Captain and Ginger.
Captain Morgan, official partner of Major League Soccer.
Every Thursday, NBA fans can catch one of the best basketball shows in the country when Ethan Skolnick and Ira Winderman host Inside the Paint. Listen to two of the most knowledgeable and connected reporters in the business. Get year-round insight every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. with Inside the Paint on the home for hardcore basketball fans. OnSideRadio.com.
Big O for M&S Air Conditioning. You know, air quality in your home and business is more important than ever. That's why you've got to call M&S Air Conditioning and let them install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit. Folks, it attracts, captures, and destroys biological contaminants to improve your air quality. With stellar customer service, answering your call from 7:30 a.m. till 9 o'clock p.m. For more info on high-efficiency air filters and their preventative maintenance plans, visit M&S Air Conditioning at ac-florida.com.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
Big news, Miami fans! Body Armor is proud to be the new official sports drink of Major League Soccer and Inter Miami CF. It doesn't matter if you're a player or a fan, Body Armor sports drink will hydrate you with potassium-packed electrolytes, antioxidants, and no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. Whether you're at home or in the starting lineup, Body Armor sports drink will hydrate you from kickoff to the final whistle. Body Armor, now the official sports drink of Inter Miami CF, available at your local Publix.
You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Huge shout out to everybody who's been texting the show and everyone active in the YouTube chat. Want to say hello to Herman, Ray, Bromar Smelly, Andy from Scotland is on board. Herman asked me, he says, what type of chocolate brand do you prefer? He throws out there Hershey's, Nestle, or other, and he asked my favorite cereal box to buy. I'll start with the chocolate. I can be a little bit of a snob. My tastes are sometimes highbrow. I think my favorite chocolates, I like the Ferrero Rochers, which are from Italy. So there's a natural bias there, and they have the hazelnut flavor in there because it's like basically there's Nutella inside of those things, and Nutella is my favorite substance on the planet. It should be on the periodic table of elements. It is that good. Ferrero are awesome. I also love Lindt, which I think is from Switzerland, if I'm not mistaken. And I love Dove chocolate. They make some good, like the little chocolate bites that they make. I think that's American, if I'm not mistaken. I love Dove. I also love, you talk about Hershey's and Nestle. I do. There's always a special place in my heart for Hershey's because that takes me back to my childhood. Hershey bars, Hershey Kisses. So I do enjoy a Hershey's, and I enjoy a Nestle Crunch and Bunch of Crunch. It's one of my favorite movie theater snacks. So there are a number of different chocolates that I like. Probably my top two favorites would have to be either Ferrero Rochers or Lindor Truffles from Lindt. I think one of those two are probably my favorites. As far as my favorite cereal, this is going to be very surprising, but I think my favorite that I've been into for the last few years is, I hope I don't screw up the name because there are a bunch of cereals that are similar to this, but none exactly like this. I think it's Raisin Nut Bran. Whichever one has where and I know a lot of people are like, oh, raisins suck. Okay, whatever, man. If you've ever tried Raisin Nut Bran, you know I'm not lying. Because, like, the raisins... Oh, Alex Aguirre likes it. Is that the one where the raisins are in, like, a candy coating? Like, they're under, like a sweet, like, yogurt coating? They're really good.
No, to be honest
Is that a different one?
No, I've never tried Raisinets. I was giving you the standby signal, but...
Oh, my bad.
It's all good.
I thought that was, like, the fist of, like, agreement. I thought yeah.
My bad. But no, I've never tried Raisinets, so I can't give my takes on that. But pretty much all the chocolates you've said, I'm with you on there, man. Right. Easter just passed, so like I've been on a pretty big chocolate binge the last couple of days.
Yeah, I haven't slept in days because of all the chocolate. There's caffeine in there in that chocolate.
Yeah.
I'm all hopped up. All right, we'll get the 4 o'clock hour officially underway after this. Remember, at 4:30, we're going to talk some Heat basketball with Alphonse Sidney. You're listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida. We are OnsideRadio.com.
OnsideRadio.com knows gamers need a home.
Can you dig it?
That's why for the next 60 seconds,
Can you count, suckers?
here's your Onside Radio E-Report with Toast.
Congratulations are in order for Rachel Hofstetter and Jack Dunlop as they received ownership stakes in the esports team 100 Thieves. Better known as Valkyrie and Courage in the streaming world, the two have spent the last few years as content creators for the group and are now being rewarded with equity. The announcement is significant as there are not many female owners in the esports world. Elsewhere, the news was embraced by those who wanted to use it to bring back up the fallen relationship between 100 Thieves co-founder Nadeshot and his once best friend Nick Merckx. Folks joked that they finally got around to giving out Nick's ownership share, just not to Nick. Happy gaming.
Stay in touch in the world of gaming with the Onside Radio E-Report. We'll be right back to the man of the match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the home of Inter Miami CF.
His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalo Higuain opens his account for Inter Miami.
OnsideRadio.com, where the passion for La Rosa Negra runs deep. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, 4 o'clock hour of Man of the Match with Alex Donno. I'm Alex Donno, and I'm with you guys for 2 more hours here on OnSideRadio.com. Stick with us until 6 o'clock tonight. Going to have a couple of more great guests on with us. Huge thanks again to Kyle Krabs from DolphinsWire.com and the Draft Network for joining us at the bottom of the 3 o'clock hour. In case you guys missed it, I don't know, knowing the efficiency of Alex Aguirre, I'm guessing, is that already posted as a podcast? Oh, we give him 5. All right, we'll give you 5 minutes. Don't worry. I didn't want to put too much pressure on you, Alex, but it's gonna be up there within a matter of minutes. The interview I had with Kyle Krabs. It's a must listen every week. He gave you his thinking on what the Dolphins are going to do at number 6 overall. He gave us a lot of insight on smoke screens leading up to the draft. There's been a lot of smoke with Justin Fields into why his stock may have fallen a little bit since the end of the college football season, and his thoughts on what the Atlanta Falcons could do in the draft, what the Cincinnati Bengals could do in the draft, and on the San Francisco 49ers as well. So we really went heavy into the top 6 in this upcoming NFL draft. So great stuff as always there by Kyle Krabs. You know, earlier I mentioned I am officially canceling Selena Gomez because not only did she dump Jimmy Butler, she ghosted Jimmy Butler. That is just cruel. How do you ghost Jimmy Butler? It's disrespect. She's probably a Lakers fan, and she's like in cahoots with LeBron James or something scandalous like that.
There are photos of her at courtside at Lakers games.
I bet she's a turncoat. Yeah. She's Judas. I mean, and so close to Easter, she starts ghosting Judas. She's Judas. She's a Judas. Speaking of Jimmy Butler, though, I watched something this morning. I happened to see this pop into my timeline. This video, it was made by Uninterrupted, and they made this video with Jimmy. It's only like 3.5, 4 minutes long. You guys should go watch it if you haven't already. I mean, it's basically a commercial for Toyota Sienna, but it's actually really funny. It's Jimmy Butler driving around his Toyota Sienna minivan. Apparently he drives a Toyota Sienna, and he's like driving his friends around, and they're like Jimmy is. And we know he's got a personality, the big face coffee and everything, and his interviews post-game are always really good with Jax. Like, we know Jimmy has a personality, but I'm telling you, watch this video. I mean, even if it is an ad, and I don't usually watch ads, it's actually really well done with Jimmy driving his friends around Miami in a Toyota Sienna minivan. And it reminds me of, and this is a good ad campaign, because if Toyota is going to try to make like cool people think that it's actually cool to drive a minivan, Jimmy Butler's a pretty good guy to sell that because it's a really well done ad. I can remember, and I've never been a minivan driver, okay, but I have driven a minivan 6 or 7 years ago. I had, a car that needed repairs. So I take my car to the shop, and it's one of those things where they tell me, we're going to need to keep this here for a few days, right? So the dealership sends me to Enterprise Rent-A-Car because they're going to pay for my, they didn't have a loaner to give me for whatever reason. I think I was low on the priority list of loaners. They always give like the big, the custom. I've always noticed the people with the most expensive car models, they're the ones who get the priorities for the loaners, right? So I was low on the priority list there. So they send me to Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and every time, if you rent a car without a reservation, it's always a nightmare, right? So they send me over there with like a claim number or whatever, but I didn't have a reservation, so most of the cars were gone. So I finally get to the front of the line at this Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and the woman tells me, she's like, hey, just so you know, we can get you more options on cars if you don't mind waiting for a while. We don't know how long it's going to be, but right now we have a Toyota Sienna available for you. And I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I'm not an expert on Toyota. So when she said that, I didn't know that was a minivan. So I'm like, Yeah, give me that, right? Because she tells me, hey, you can wait here. It might be a couple of hours and we'll get you in a different car. Or I have a Toyota Sienna for you right now. I'm like, why not? Let me take that. And so they pull up in this Toyota Sienna, and I realize, God damn it, I'm going to be driving a minivan for the next few days. It ended up being a week because, my car was in for repairs, and they told me 2 or 3 days. It ended up being a full week before I got my car back. I'm driving this Toyota Sienna Mini. This is before I even had a kid, so I'm just I'm a married guy, but no family, no kids or anything, and I'm just by myself driving to and from work, driving in a Toyota Sienna. And let me tell you, it was a nightmare. Nothing wrong with the van. Like Toyota, fine product, no complaints about the van. But here's the thing. And if there are any like family men or ladies listening, maybe you drive a minivan, you can verify this or deny it if you want to. But the experience that I had driving a minivan on I-95 every single day to and from work, people do not respect minivans like other cars on the road. Here's what kept happening to me. Now, I have a bit of a heavy foot. Not like Tiger Woods. That guy's insane. But when I'm on the highway and the traffic is flowing, I get to where I need to go with intent, okay? Speed limit is 65 or whatever on I-95 or 50, whatever it is, I'm probably going at least 10 miles per hour over the speed limit. I hope I'm not admitting to some kind of a crime saying this live on the air, but I need to make the point that I'm not a slow driver, okay? I don't take my time. I get to where I need to go with purpose, all right? And the same rules applied when I was driving the Toyota Sienna. Like, even though I'm driving a minivan, I'm still going 10, maybe sometimes 15 miles per hour over the speed limit. And here's what kept happening to me. When other people on the road see a minivan in front of them, the reflex is just seeing a minivan right in front of you, you assume they're probably going 15 miles under the speed limit. So even though I was driving fast, people were going like 90 just to pass me, and people are zipping by me as if I was like a tow truck or something. It was unbelievable. Like I felt so disrespected and emasculated. I'm driving this minivan for a week, and I'm driving the minivan the same way I would drive any other car. Like I didn't suddenly get into the minivan and take on the traits of a soccer mom and decide, well, now that I'm driving a minivan, I'm going to drive like 5 miles per hour below the speed limit instead of 10 or 15. No, I was still driving as fast as I would ever drive going anywhere else. And yet, anytime people got behind me, they just saw minivan, and the reflex is get around them, speed up. So it's like I couldn't get anywhere because people are passing me left and right. Like I couldn't move over. I couldn't get into the exit lanes because it was an absolute freaking nightmare. The minivan reflex, it's the reverse of the police car reflex. We all have that one. We all have the cop car reflex where if there's a police car behind you, you always slow down. That's got to be frustrating. Like if you're a police officer driving a patrol car, anytime you're behind somebody on the highway, they slow down like immediately. They slow down to like 5 below the speed limit, and it's like, God, I can't get anywhere because every time I'm just trying to drive on the highway. I'm in a cop car. Everybody slows down. It's really, really rough, man. So I'm telling you, I lived the life of a soccer mom for a week, and I'm driving this minivan, and everyone's and once I got my car back, my sedan back from the shop, everything went back to normal. People weren't zipping around me as if I was some pariah. It's really a horrible thing. So no matter what life throws at me, I think we're only going to have the one kid, but if I end up with like 4 more kids for whatever reason, I still make it my vow. I will never drive a minivan because I do not want to be disrespected by all the other drivers the way that I was for that week. But if it works for Jimmy Butler, if he enjoys driving his Sienna, good for him. Good for him. Willie Molina says, good show. Love when you guys talk Dolphins. Yeah, we talk a lot of Dolphins, man. We do. I got a couple of mock drafts that I was looking at. You guys want to laugh a little bit? Now, any longtime Miami Dolphin fans out there, would you have a hard time taking seriously who Mike Tannenbaum thinks the Dolphins should draft? The frightening thing is he used to actually be in charge of this franchise. Mike Tannenbaum used to actually be the guy with final say over the Dolphins draft room. And Tannenbaum was on ESPN giving his perspective on who the Dolphins should draft. Now, this is not all bad, okay? But here were Mike Tannenbaum's choices for Miami in the first round. At number 6, he likes Jamar Chase to the Dolphins. That's fine. I'm not going to argue that, right? I prefer Kyle Pitts. If Kyle Pitts is not still there, obviously, you got to look elsewhere. Even if Kyle Pitts is still there, I'm not going to throw a fit if they draft Jamar Chase. Kyle Pitts is my preference. Jamar Chase is fine. Then at number 18, it's a little puzzling here. So what have our thoughts been on the number 18 pick all along? A lot of us selfishly are looking at, hey, get us a running back there. If Najee Harris is there, take him. Maybe you think about ETN from Clemson, or if not a running back, there could be some good pass rushers out there. One of the Miami guys could be on the board. Jalen Phillips could be there for you. Greg Rousseau could be there for you. There's some other really good blue chip options at edge rusher. Mike Tannenbaum, and I absolutely hate this. And I'm not going to say this has never happened. At 18th, we've seen guys get taken in the top 10 for this, but he's got the Dolphins taking an interior lineman at number 18. Like, bro, I'm so glad he's not in charge of our draft room. He's got the Dolphins taking Elijah Vera Tucker from USC at number 18. I don't know. I feel like you can get enough value at interior offensive line in the later rounds. I don't think you need to reach for that at 18th overall. It's just my thought. I'm happy that Mike Tannenbaum is not in charge anymore. I'm really happy that he's not the guy making those moves anymore. Daniel Jeremiah also put out another mock draft. Now, Daniel Jeremiah, because I think Mike Tannenbaum was just giving his take on who the Dolphins should pick, so he doesn't know exactly whether those players are still going to be on the board. But I think for Daniel Jeremiah's, this was actually a mock, and he's got the Dolphins at number 6 overall. He also has the Dolphins taking Jamar Chase. But that's because the mock he was doing had Kyle Pitts going at number 5, which is kind of interesting to me because I wonder if Cincinnati would actually do that. Because I would think that Cincinnati is either going to take Sewell or Chase. I'd be really surprised, actually. So it'd be one thing if Atlanta took Penei Sewell at number 4. That's somebody I think Cincinnati would really want. But if he's off the board at 4, there's nothing they can do about that. But then at number 5, I don't know. Maybe I put too much stock into the Joe Burrow factor. But, we hear about how much Burrow is like lobbying for them to take Jamar Chase. It's just interesting because if Sewell's off the board at 4, then I would think at 5 that Cincinnati would go Chase. But you know what? It may come down to the best player available thing, right? That, the same way we're saying that, hey, Kyle Pitts is the most talented player at his position perhaps in this entire draft. Like, he's a generational tight end. How can you pass that up? Cincinnati might say the same thing, I guess. So Jeremiah has the Dolphins taking Chase because Pitts is off the board. And then at number 18, how about this? At number 18, he's got the Dolphins selecting defensive end Greg Rousseau from the Miami Hurricanes. He says Rousseau had some stiffness in his pro day workout. Oh no, Mets tied it up. Oh, Alex, bottom in the 9th. Oh. Any more runners on base or no? So it could end up at extras. Any outs? No outs. It's not good. Day baseball is stressful, very stressful. But continuing, this is what Daniel Jeremiah said about Greg Rousseau. Rousseau had some stiffness in his pro day workout, which concerns some teams. That said, look at his combination of size, length, and production. Plus, his impressive 10-yard split time of 1.57 seconds will carry a lot of weight in evaluations. And, yeah, to what he was saying about some stiffness in his pro day workout, don't you kind of expect that from a guy who didn't play in over a year? I mean, he opted out of 2020, and so he hadn't played a competitive football game in like 16 months before his pro day. So I would kind of it wouldn't surprise me to see some stiffness there if you're asking me. All right, we'll continue. I want to weigh in on today's roundtable discussion, which is it's Miami Heat related, all right? You know how we do it with the roundtable. I love that feature here on the station where every host weighs in on a big topic every single day, and then at the end of the day, Alex Aguirre makes a master cut, and we call it the roundtable. So I'm going to give you my take on that when we return. Hey, Inter Miami CF fans, join us for every road game as we broadcast live from Dangerous Minds Brewing Company, 1901 North Federal Highway in Pompano. Join Big O and myself. Enjoy delicious food and incredible house drafts and giveaways. Inter Miami CF fans, your new home for every road game is Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano. Follow them on Twitter at Dangerous Minds B and Instagram at Dangerous Minds Brewing.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
Big O, Tito is not allowed in the Boom Boom Room. Never seen Smokey and the Bandit. Never seen Top Gun. What's the matter with these kids? Look at that. Now you can't hang out with Salma, Paige, Sophia. See, now you can't hang out with the ladies because you have not seen Top Gun.
Yeah, I would just hope that, like I said, the Boom Boom Room is sanitized. I would hope.
Well, I don't know, but did you hear about the 81-person orgy?
No.
What is wrong with you?
The Onside Zone with Big O, only on OnsideRadio.com.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwork here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m. only on OnsideRadio.com.
He has an overbite that makes him look like a cartoon character, a slightly crooked eye, and an uncommonly wrinkly neck. In the right light, he can look a little like a garden gnome, and he'll wear a bow tie just because. Sure, you might call him a little quirky, but that's exactly what makes him so perfect. Tuna is a 3-year-old Chihuahua Dachshund mix with more than 700,000 followers on Instagram, and it all started because he was adopted. You can't buy a best friend like Tuna, but you can adopt one. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Living with a condition can sometimes be a challenge. It may take years to accept a formal diagnosis, and it's not always easy to find the right treatment plan. Did you know that up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental health condition that also requires a comprehensive approach to treatment? ADHD guidelines were recently updated to reflect the need to screen for associated disorders. Be sure to talk with your child's doctor about proper screening and visit more2adhd.com for additional information. That's more2adhd.com. This message has been brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Remember the Florida Panthers making moves, clearing some cap space. The trade deadline in the NHL, it's coming up. We still have a few days, so it's Monday. Monday, the trade deadline in the NHL. And yeah, a lot of folks out there think that the Panthers are that the move they made today is the first of a series of moves, and that they could have been clearing the cap space they need to get a big name like Taylor Hall by the deadline, or maybe a bigger name defenseman. So that's something to watch out for, okay? I think the Panthers are making moves. In an hour, We're going to talk to Jameson Olive, lead writer at FloridaPanthers.com. In about 10 minutes, we're going to talk with our good pal, Alphonse Sidney, Alf from Hangover Time on Miami Heat Beat. We're going to have fun with him. I want to get into the roundtable segment for today, which is Miami Heat related. Is this a must-win for the Miami Heat tonight? They take on the Lakers. Miami is hovering around 500, and they're 6-15 against teams with 500 or better records. What kind of team are we watching on the court right now? Let me answer the last part of that. What kind of a team are we watching on the court? Right now, we are watching a team that is too Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo dependent. You know, we can't expect Jimmy to be Superman every single night, and sometimes he is, and it's still not enough to win games against subpar teams. 6-15 record against teams with over 500 records. That tells me a lot about who this team is. So on the plus side, they win a lot of the games they're supposed to win, but then on the downside, they're really playing down to the level of competition. I think that's a big point of emphasis here that, you know, the Heat they're playing down to bad competition, because we saw that against Memphis the other night, and they're really not rising to the occasion against teams that, you know, that they should struggle with. So we're seeing a team that they need more offensive consistency from Victor Oladipo. You know, they really need the new acquisitions, and Trevor Ariza is coming around, Bielitsa coming around a bit, but they really need to maximize the additions that they made on and a week prior to the trade deadline, because they're going to need their starting lineup and their closing lineup to be firing on all cylinders if they're really going to make noise in the playoffs and make a deep run. Because if Victor Oladipo is still not shooting well and he's deferring too much, and if Tyler Hero hasn't found his game, and if Goran Dragic, yes, Donno, I need to find, I have back spasms throughout season. I need to find my offensive rhythm, my friend. Yeah, Goran, we need you. We need you to look like the Goran of last postseason. Yes, I understand that, Donno. We need that if the Heat are going to make a run. So right now, I don't think this team is really playing anywhere close to their potential, but you're going to run out of time if you wait too long here. So to the question at hand, is this a must-win for the Miami Heat tonight? This is about as close to a must-win as you can get for a regular season game against an out-of-conference opponent. This is virtually a must-win. 99% a must-win for the Heat tonight. Why? You already squandered a chance in a game you should have won against Memphis this week. The Los Angeles Lakers are decimated right now. You get to return the favor. You remember the Los Angeles Lakers, they got to hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy after, and they were a great team in the postseason last year, but they win a best-of-7 series in 6 against a Heat team that didn't have Bam Adebayo and Goran Dragic. The Miami Heat were limping in that final series, and the Lakers took advantage. Now the Lakers are more than limping. They are on life support right now, and the Heat need to get a little payback. You look at the injury reports for tonight. The Miami Heat injury report, this looks as good as it's looked all season. You only have one guy who's definitely out, and that's KZ Okpala. You're not going to miss him. He's out for the health and safety protocols. And Tyler Hero is probable for his foot issue. He's more than likely going to play. That's what probable means. I'm not reinventing the wheel. Then you look at the Lakers injury report. No LeBron James. No Anthony Davis. No Andre Drummond. Well, Andre Drummond is actually probable. Jared Dudley is out with a knee. You've got no LeBron, no AD, no excuse. I just checked Bovada to see where the line was at this moment. The Miami Heat are a 9-point favorite in this game. A 9-point favorite. Now, that means I'm staying away from it as a gambler because, the Heat might win the game. They should win the game. I don't trust them to win by 10 points or more. So I'm staying away from it, okay? But the Heat, and I think 538 gives the Heat a 66% chance of victory here tonight. This isn't a must-win game in terms of if you lose, you're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs or anything like that. Like, you can technically afford to lose this game, and you're still going to be a postseason team. But it is a must-win in terms of if you can't beat a decimated Lakers team at home and you continue your week here before hitting the road for a tough trip, if you continue your week at home by having a disappointing loss to Memphis and then a really disappointing loss to a Lakers team with barely any healthy bodies, if that's how the Miami Heat wrap up this homestand, I'm really discouraged. I'm really, really discouraged. You have no excuses not to make the Lakers pay. Now, the Lakers, for what it's worth, they beat the Toronto Raptors a couple of nights ago, 110-101. So that wasn't supposed to happen. So they're trying to shock the Miami Heat at home now as well. So this game, I am going to label it a must-win because I need to see something encouraging from a team that, you know, they've had their ups, they've had their downs, they've had their 11 of 12s and their 4-game winning streaks, and then they've also had their awful runs throughout the year. I need to see you punish a decimated Los Angeles Lakers team tonight. So, yeah, this is a must-win for the Miami Heat. Tense times. Bases loaded, bottom of the ninth. Jesus, one out. Did he strike him out? Oh, he hit him. Oh, no. Oh, hit the batter, and so the Mets that's how they get the walk-off in the bottom of the ninth. Bro, this is tragedy. So the Marlins lose 3-2 to the Mets, fall to 1-6. So they play earlier every single day. Is Major League Baseball going to have us playing at 8 a.m. tomorrow? Like, what do we do with this now? This is rough.
I don't understand what's going on. So for the listeners out there, the Marlins just lost the game 3-2 with bases loaded.
Bases loaded,
and the hit by
pitch.
pitch brought the runner in because the Mets are the home team.
Right.
But when Conforto got hit by the pitch, he didn't react like he got hit by the pitch. And he leaned into it as well. We're looking at the replay.
Dude, he leaned into it, and it grazed his elbow pad.
That's a strike. It landed.
Bro, that's a strike.
In the strike zone on the K-cam, that's right down the middle. The ball landed right down the middle.
Come on, Blue.
You can't lean, like, it's so clear.
Okay, the umpires need to fix this, bro. This is horseshit if they call that game.
Yeah, they're
over.
calling. I think they're calling for a replay now.
Good.
To see what happens.
I love my guy Don Mattingly is all over it.
Oh no, he stormed out of the dugout as soon as
Donnie
it happened.
Base.
Yeah,
Dude,
you can tell.
It barely touched him.
And you're not allowed to lean into it. You're not allowed.
You
have to make an attempt. You need to make an attempt to get out of the way of the ball. You just can't stand there. Or he leans into
That's
it.
not going to fly for Donnie Baseball.
Oh, the final. They called final. Are you kidding me?
What?
They called final.
Dude, I'm looking at the. I don't think that even touched him. I'm looking at the replay right now. This is insane. They got every angle. It didn't touch it, bro. It didn't touch him.
And it looks like from the top angle, it looks like it didn't even touch him. And you can see in every replay, he's throwing his body into the pitch.
And not only that, he threw his body into it. But look, I am studying this like I studied the Zapruder film.
Wait,
they're still looking at it.
Okay,
all right.
What do they say? So we can't hear what the umpire said, obviously. But I think the game's not over yet. Oh no, it is. Yeah.
No, you know what they were doing?
Yeah.
They were showing the replay of his final call. I think is what that was.
Yeah.
I apologize to the folks listening because we don't have the sound on, so
Yeah.
we're having to examine this like a silent film.
Damn.
They were showing a replay. This is scandalous, dude. This is truly scandalous. Like
what a. I know they were in position to win the game,
They've
but
just-
it wasn't over yet.
Right, but still, yeah, you're right. I mean, they had the bases loaded with one out, but
yeah.
they get gifted the victory here. This is ridiculous.
That ball was right down the middle. He leaned into it.
And still, it didn't. I don't think it touched him.
Maybe it was hard to see, but I don't think it touched him.
The trajectory of the ball did not change at all. Like the spin, the spin did not change. The spin did not change whatsoever. Look at this. Right, they're showing the replay again. Dude, that ball didn't, and that was a little too fast. I need to see a slower replay than the one they showed.
How can the umpire's looking at the ball?
It didn't hit him.
And the ball's a ball or a strike. How can you look if it's a ball or a strike and it hit him at the same time?
Super slow-mo on Bally's. It didn't hit him. It didn't even hit him.
Can you call for replay on that? I don't think you can call replay for hit by pitches, which is I think absurd because look at this.
Look, it didn't. I don't think it changed the ball at all. That is absolutely like I can't tell. Are they still like they keep showing it again? Like
they keep
they're
showing
still looking at it.
Yeah, they
like
keep showing that. Wes Bali probably just messing with us.
God, I mean,
he got fooled too. His knees buckled and everything on the pitch. He was fooled completely on the pitch.
I want to hear the outrage. I want to hear from Jeremy Taché, from Craig Mish, Craig Minervini. What's his thought on it? It's outrage city. The Miami Marlins.
Tommy Hutton. I want to hear Tommy Hutton's rant on this.
Oh please, this is ridiculous, man. You know what? Dude, how about this? So my buddy Martino Puccio, he's a Met fan, and he just tweeted, bro, we just stole that game. So he even knows. He's a hardcore Met. Like this guy Martino, he's a frenemy. Like he's a friend of mine, but he's a mortal enemy.
Kai's a Mets fan too.
He's a Mets fan?
Yeah, so I wonder what are his thoughts on this game. But now they
stole the game.
And the count was 1 ball, 2 strikes. You know, like he was ahead in the count. That was strike 3 right there.
Absolutely ridiculous. This is scandalous. Wow. Well, we're going to lighten the mood, talk a little Miami Heat with our buddy Alf. I feel so bad for you, Alex. I know you're such a big Marlins fan. This is highway robbery. The team is now 1-6, and listen again. They might have ended up losing this baseball game anyway. Okay, they were in position were the Mets to take advantage, but they stole this win. This is awful. All right, we're going to talk some Miami Heat with Alphonse Sidney from Hangover Time when we come back. Hey, Onside Radio enters Kai's Corner with Kai Chen Chisholm every day from 10 a.m. to noon. Join Kai as he discusses the biggest stories in South Florida sports. Tune in every day, 10 a.m. to noon for Kai's Corner on the home for South Florida Sports Talk, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com. Hey everybody, it's Good Greek Moving and Storage, and for over 2 decades, they've been entrusted to handle all of your moving and storage needs. And now, Good Greek is the official mover of Inter Miami CF. And if Inter Miami trusts the Good Greek, you should too. For the best move ever, whether it's across town or across the country, go to GreekMoving.com. That's GreekMoving.com for Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of your Inter Miami CF.
Riddle me this, with all this sizzling meat and crunchy veggies nestled between toasty flatbread, who should get credit for Papa John's new papadilla? The person who invented pizza or the person who invented folding? Well, whoever it is, a tip of the tongue hat to you, sir or madam. Get a new papadilla, 4 flavors, just $6 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, better than a sandwich, Papa John's.
My daughter Brinley is here at St. Jude. Coming here was literally life or death, and it was so scary. But St. Jude is fighting for one goal, like this one mission, life. And that gave us hope. We haven't received a single bill from St. Jude, so I really can just focus on what's best for Brinley.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
In a heartbreaking fashion, the Miami Marlins dropped their series opener against the New York Mets 3-2. Going into the 9th inning, the Miami Marlins led 2-1. Anthony Bass blew the save, giving up a home run to tie the game from Jeff McNeil. And then, with the bases loaded and 1 out, Michael Conforto was hit by the pitch, and the winning run scored. Final score 3-2. Next game tomorrow for the Miami Marlins. The Florida Panthers made a 5-player trade with the Chicago Blackhawks. The Panthers are sending Brett Connolly, Riley Stillman, Wright Henrik Borgstrom, and a 7th-round pick. And the Panthers are receiving Lucas Carlson and Lucas Wallmark. Kevin Durant made a perfect return last night, going 5-5 from the field, scoring 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists in 19 minutes of action. And the Nets routed the Pelicans 139-111. On the eve of the Masters, the LA County Sheriff's Office has said excessive speed was the cause of Tiger Woods' February crash. Woods' SUV was traveling from 84 to 87 miles per hour in a 45 zone. The SUV was going 75 miles per hour when it hit the tree. No traffic citations were issued. This is South Florida's home for local sports talk. This is OnSideRadio.com.
It's toast. Smartest thing I did last year? Called B&T Windows and Doors and had PGT custom windows and doors installed in my house. Listen, it's spring. That means before you know it, we'll be hearing about the tropics churning. That means you need to get your home and family protected today. Call B&T right now and they'll get you installed ASAP with the best in the business, PGT Custom Windows and Doors. 954-233-0126 or bntwindowsanddoors.com. And P.S. Tell them you heard about them on Onside Radio.
Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
You know, it's always a good time when we can talk to our next guest, the host of Hangover Time on Miami Heat Beat. I had a blast a couple weeks ago when Tito and I were on Hangover Time with this man and the awesome cast of characters. Alphonse Sidney joins us. He's at Alf954 on Twitter. Although, Alf, you recently moved to the 561, didn't you? Or are you going to hold on to Alf954, or are you going to make a change?
Listen, 954 is in my soul. It's my birthright. So, you know, just because I'm in Delray don't mean I'm not 954 to my core. You know what I mean?
Fair enough, man. Like I'll be 305 forever. I did for a couple years. I did live in the 954, but I kept my 305 number, and it was always in my heart.
Exactly. I'm still 954. Even when I moved to Atlanta, Charlotte, Louisiana, I took 954 with me. I take it everywhere I go.
Nice. You know, I was pretty discouraged by the loss a couple nights ago to Memphis, and now tonight, given the state of the Lakers, the Heat, they should win this game easily, and they're a 9-point favorite in this game tonight. But
come on, Dono. What team have you been watching?
Well, and that's
easily?
the thing. And that's the thing. They always play down to the competition. So are we going to have another one of those nights where it comes down to a final possession or two?
I mean, I would assume so, just because, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, because I mean, this is the team we've watched all year. I mean, you say you're a little down about the loss the other night. I was down about it. I was upset, but at the same time, it was like just so much outlier crap. There was just like no effort. Like sometimes I wonder, like, do the Heat think they're better than they are?
Right.
Because they actually are better than their record is, and like they just like forget sometimes that yes, even against Dylan Brooks and Kyle Anderson, you have to give full effort, especially with the way their defense, their defensive scheme works. I mean, you're trapping, you're blitzing pick and rolls. You're switching everything. Like that requires a lot of effort, and sometimes against bad teams, it just feels like, listen, Dylan Brooks is going to miss eventually. Dylan Brooks is going to miss eventually. Okay, now he's going to start missing, and then some of these guys just never miss. The T.J. McConnells of the world. The McDermotts, they just don't miss, and then you end up with an embarrassing loss. So tonight, I can see that happening again. I don't know if they'll do it two nights in a row, but we've seen this team go on 4-game losing streaks all season, so it would not surprise me.
Yeah, and I'm looking at our YouTube chat, and Troy says 9-point favorite. What a joke! Bet the Lakers with the points. Honestly, I hate betting against my teams, but A couple months ago, I did this when the Heat were like a 10-point favorite against the Wizards. I bet on the Wizards. The Wizards ended up winning the game outright, actually. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
As much as I hate betting on my teams, like I hope the Heat still win. I just don't think they're going to win by 10 or more points. So I might actually bet the Lakers tonight. The Heat, Alf, did. They did make a move with Dwayne Dedmon. So we got another Dwayne in Miami. Is this move to me? What does this say about their faith in Precious Achiuwa? Because that's my first takeaway. Is this goes to show you they obviously don't trust Precious that much. How much of a role do you think Dwayne Dedmon could play for the rest of the year?
So when it comes to Precious, one of the things we're hard on him all the time on Heat beat and hangover time. But it's mostly because we do see some potential in him. But nobody has been hurt more by the lack of an offseason, the lack of a summer league, the lack of G League than Precious Achiuwa. This guy he's a raw player who needs some time. You saw he showed flashes at the beginning of the year, but he's kind of hit that wall. He's an undersized 4 even. So we're asking him a lot to come in and do what Bam normally does, and that's just a lot to ask of a kid. And it's just you start seeing that the game is moving too fast for him. Some of these things, the intensity is ratcheted up. He was involved in trade rumors. You can just see his confidence slipping. This would be a great time to send a guy down to the G League, but that's not an option this year. So in enters Dwayne Dedmon. So I look at him as more just of an insurance policy. I look at that bench and I see guys like Dwayne Dedmon, at this point Kendrick Nunn. These guys are the kind of guys that are going to help you get to the playoffs healthy, right?
Right.
If there's a guy like Andre Iguodala or Trevor Ariza that's a little bit nicked up, these guys are old, they need breaks. These are the kind of games where Dwayne Dedmon is probably going to play some more minutes for you. I don't see him going over Bielitsa in the depth chart, unless Bielitsa just completely just never really pans out. So he's going to be that. I don't even think it's a break glass in case of emergency. I think he's going to get minutes just while they try to keep their rotation healthy for the playoffs. But when you get to an 8-9 man rotation in the postseason, Dwayne Dedmon's not playing.
Right. How important is the 4 seed? Like should the Heat really bust their asses to get home court for a round, or is that not a deal breaker in your mind?
It's not about the seed to me. I think this year feels weird. The Heat play just as good on the road as they do at home. The seed and home court advantage don't really they don't do anything for me. But what does is this team getting on some kind of cohesive rhythm. This team starting to beat some bad teams soundly and start getting some wins against good teams. They have a negative point differential on the season still. So we got all excited when they were a few games over 500, but if we go by point differential, I think they're 11th in the East, just in the East. We're not talking about the league. We're talking about just in the East. They're 11th in point differential. So I do want to see them start getting some more, some more significant wins. Start beating the brakes off of some of these bad teams instead of just, like we talk about squeaking it out on Jimmy's back with 6 minutes left in the game, So where that puts them as far as a 4 seed, 5 seed, 6 seed, I don't really care. I think health with this team is tantamount. Like, it's the most important thing. They need to get Goran Dragic healthy. They need to make sure Ariza and Iggy can play big minutes. They need to make sure nothing happens to Bam or Jimmy, God forbid. So health to me is more important than anything. The record is not as important, but I would like to see some winning ways and some dominant performances because we've seen precious little of that. No pun intended.
And we've also, we've also seen precious little of Victor Oladipo so far. It's just a handful of games, and he's not really had a good shooting night yet. Well, what's been your progress report on Depot so far?
I think he's. On Hangover Time, Tiffany Meeks a lot of times will say that he's pressing. And I think that's that's what happens when you have a guy who's just not really ingratiated into the offense. I think defensively, you've already seen a lot of what he brings to the table. He's a guy who he's their most trusted guard defender at this point, because the rest of the guards do not defend very well. So defensively, you already see what he's going to bring, and you've seen some flashes on offense. What I like the most that he brings is, so far you see 2 or 3 times in a game he just breaks out that early offense where, we get into our half court sets really slowly, really deliberately. And when he brings up the ball, every once in a while, he just goes straight for it. He just attacks the basket, doesn't let the defense set up, just kind of basically, just takes it himself. And even if he doesn't score, he's setting somebody else up while he's got the defense scrambling. Now, what I would like to see is, going forward, instead of 2 to 3 times a game, he's doing that 8 or 9, 9 or 10, 10, 11, 11, 12, where he is just putting he's putting a lot of pressure on the opposing team's defense, because outside of Jimmy and a hobbled Goran right now, he's the only one who can do it. So I think what we're going to see that, slowly over time, as he becomes comfortable, you're going to start seeing more of what makes Victor Oladipo dangerous with a team like this, because he's going to be kind of that wild card that just, where sometimes how Jimmy just completely blows off the offense and just does whatever he wants to do. Victor's going to be able to give you some of that as well.
Well said. Really good stuff as always. And I feel bad. I didn't have any cargo shorts talk. Are you wearing cargo shorts right now?
No, I'm not. I'm wearing basketball shorts because, I'm not doing anything fancy. There's nothing, there's no big event. It's my birthday this weekend, so, I'll probably be rocking the cargo shorts.
Happy early birthday, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, thank you. So, hopefully I get more cargo shorts. You can never have enough pockets. It's essential. I'll keep my candles and extra birthday gifts in the pocket. So, yeah, the cargo shorts are always a part of, of what we do over here, Donno. It's essential to everything.
I love it. You make sure you check out Alf on Hangover Time for Miami Heat Beat, and the Light Skin Opinions pod as well. Alphonse Sidney at Alf954 on Twitter. Thank you so much, man. Have a wonderful birthday and enjoy your weekend.
Anytime, brother. Thanks.
Really good stuff there from Alf. And I had to get something in cargo shorts at the end. Like, it'd be a cardinal sin to get through a conversation with Alf and not at least bring up his passion for cargo shorts. 844-416-8123 is how you reach us on the text line. That's 844-416-8123. Oh, there's some Goran talk on the text line. Marla, in Goran's voice, says, "My back spasms keep flaring up, so I must quickly visit Austin Burke to record another commercial." I sounded a little bit like Count Dracula there. Listen, Donno, you like... I go to Austin Burke. I get 14 suit for price of 65 suit. I get 4 suit for price of 1 suit. It's so great here at Austin Burke. 844-416-8123. Man, somebody's calling me right now on my phone. Again, I get more phone calls between 3 to 6 p.m. when I'm on the air than I do any other time throughout the day. We'll wrap up the 4 o'clock hour on the other side. Hey, Sundays at 9 a.m., our pal Juan Cardona dominates the airwaves with Juan on Juan. From sneakers to video games to your favorite South Florida sports team. Tune in every Sunday to Juan on Juan, exclusively on the home for sports talk in South Florida, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
If you missed 4th and 20 with Toast and Marsh, you missed.
And the top trait they're looking for in a partner is someone that can cook better than them.
Wow.
Yeah. How are you at cooking?
I'm okay. I cook all my stuff.
What's your best dish? If I had to say, Marsh, this you're gonna eat in tonight with a girl. All right.
If I'm cooking for a girl, then I'm not cooking.
4th and 20 with Toast and Marsh, weekday mornings from 8 to 10.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwork here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., only on OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com.
If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
She's kind of young, so I don't know. She may not be into Van Halen much. Let's see. Hey, Ruthie, good afternoon. Are you a Van Halen fan?
You know, I just had to Google Van Halen. I'm not going to lie to you. I just literally have it on my computer right now.
The Onside Zone with Big O. Weekdays 11 to 1 p.m. Only on OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
Can I get a captain?
Captain and what?
Captain and Ginger.
I can't hear you.
Captain and Ginger. He was a captain and Ginger. Captain and Ginger. He was a captain and Ginger.
Captain Morgan, official partner of Major League Soccer.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
I think we need to find our pal Big O a new European soccer club. He stands for Arsenal, who have been irrelevant for like 20 years, and they couldn't even get the job done at home against Slavia Prague in the first leg of their Europa League tie. 1-1 the final score. And I bet on Arsenal on the money line, so they just had to win by goal. They had the Nicolas Pepe scored the opening goal in the 86th minute to make it 1-0. So you thought, okay, Arsenal might actually close this one out. They gave up the game-tying goal in the 93rd minute. That's mush nonsense there. Wow, Roma actually beat Ajax today. That's the only Italian team left in European competition. So I don't root for Roma, but I do want them to actually do something and go deep, because all the Italian clubs have already been eliminated from Champions League, and they're the only ones left standing in Europa League. So I'm happy that Roma won. Man United are about to beat Granada 2-0. I did bet United on the money line at like minus 190 because I didn't have enough faith in them to win by 2 goals, because Austin Robillard is a Man United fan. I told him, hey, go Manchester United. I bet on them today. He said, well, I hope you bet them minus 1.5. And I said, no chance, bro. I don't have faith in them to win by 2 goals. They might actually do that, though. So there you go. And what was the other game? Villarreal beat Dinamo Zagreb 1-0. That's pretty much the expected outcome there. So I bet on all 4 of those games. I went 2-2. You factor in the VIG, lost money. So it could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse. I did worse on the Champions League yesterday. So, by the way, this Michael Conforto, he's canceled. I gave you my list of musicians that I've canceled. I'm going to have to start making a list of baseball players as well. This guy should go play for the Astros, huh? Michael Conforto, that was the Mets hitter, the outfielder, who leaned into that pitch, and it didn't even hit him. Like, he leaned into it. It didn't even hit him in the arm. And these useless umpires called it a hit by pitch, which sent home the winning run in the bottom of the 9th. But it was thievery.
what's the point of replay?
Yeah, so stupid.
What's the point of having replay if we can't replay these moments?
Is hit by pitch not a replayable
Clearly not.
offense?
Clearly not. You can't argue you can't argue balls and strikes. That's an immediate ejection. So I guess hit by pitch, which is weird because like little things, even if the bases weren't loaded, that's still a crucial run if the bases were empty.
Yeah.
So if he gets on base, that's a huge factor if he didn't get hit by that pitch.
Yeah.
So why shouldn't hit by pitches be replayed? That's what I don't understand. It's ridiculous, man. I don't get it. I'm just frustrated also with the start to the Marlins season, but the bullpen's got to get their act together.
Now, who should I be angrier at? Michael Conforto for cheating or the umpires for not actually getting the call right? Because I feel like if Conforto had any integrity,
that's gamesmanship. Quote unquote,
if he had any integrity, he would have said, "Hey, listen, I don't think it actually hit me." He's a con man.
The thing is that like if it hit him, he would have reacted and he would have made his way to first base already. He wouldn't have waited for the umpire to make the call.
Yeah, you're right. He waited. Actually, it's all I blame the umpires.
And then the umpire calls that it hit him. Like, so what are you looking at? Are you looking at the ball hitting him, or if the ball's a ball or a strike? So and then like if you can't get a good eye on it, then let's go to replay, which is the point of it. Because you can't ask the umpire from third base or first base to see if that ball hit him, because they're not. Let's be real here. They're not gonna get a perfect angle on it.
No.
So it's stupid why and Major League Baseball was like one of the last teams to get an instant replay like ingrained into the game.
Yeah.
And now they barely use it.
They barely got it before soccer. Like it was.
Yeah.
I honestly, I never thought soccer would start using replay, and they've been using it. VAR has existed for about the past I want to say 4 years, and they get that wrong a lot. Like the implementation of review in soccer, they always screw it up. But yeah, in baseball, clearly they do as well. I've never seen the live chat this passionate about the Marlins before. How about that? Tony Two Times says he leaned into that. Holy hell, the fish can't buy a win. Troy Ortiz, actually, no, he was talking about the Heat. Willie Molina said, wow, the Marlins got cheated on the call. I did see a couple of good. Troy was the one who said that we should bet the Lakers with the points tonight. I tend to agree. I might have to lock that in. He also said, does anyone really think this Heat team is better than a 500 team? It's a mediocre team. I still think they're going to be a tough matchup for everybody in the playoffs, and I will die on that hill. They're having a very disappointing regular season. And I know there's no bubble this year in the playoffs, and we can argue about how much of a factor the bubble was for them last year. The bottom line is everyone was in the same bubble. Like it's not like the Heat had some inherent advantage that no other team had playing in a bubble. I still think that with their defensive potential, that they're going to be a tough matchup for anybody. But if you can't beat a team like Memphis on Tuesday, and if you can't beat the decimated Lakers tonight, I'm really going to have to take a step back and say I don't know. It's just not their year. 5 o'clock hour coming up here on Onside Radio. Hey, Saturdays from 1 to 3 p.m., baseball fans can go deep into the count with Alex Aguirre and Christian Chase. Catch the show that talks Marlins and all the big stories in the major leagues every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. Seamheads have a new home. Listen to Deep Into the Count exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
OnsideRadio.com knows gamers need a home.
Can you dig it?
That's why for the next 60 seconds,
Can you count, suckers?
here's your Onside Radio E-Report with Toast.
Congratulations are in order for Rachel Hofstetter and Jack Dunlop as they received ownership stakes in the esports team 100 Thieves. Better known as Valkyrie and Courage in the streaming world, the two have spent the last few years as content creators for the group and are now being rewarded with equity. The announcement is significant as there are not many female owners in the esports world. Elsewhere, the news was embraced by those who wanted to use it to bring back up the fallen relationship between 100 Thieves co-founder Nadeshot and his once best friend Nick Merckx. Folks joked that they finally got around to giving out Nick's ownership share, just not to Nick. Happy gaming.
Stay in touch in the world of gaming with the Onside Radio E-Report. We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the Radio.net app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
Hey everybody, it's Good Greek Moving and Storage, and for over 2 decades, they've been entrusted to handle all of your moving and storage needs. And now, Good Greek is the official mover of Inter Miami CF. And if Inter Miami trusts the Good Greek, you should too. For the best move ever, whether it's across town or across the country, go to GreekMoving.com. That's GreekMoving.com for Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of your Inter Miami CF.
Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnsideRadio.com. Every week, keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports. And when news breaks, catch the EJDConstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to the flagship station of Inter Miami CF, OnsideRadio.com. Follow us on social media at Onside Radio. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, 5 o'clock hour, Man of the Match with Alex Donno. I'm Alex Donno with you here on OnsideRadio.com until 6 o'clock here tonight. Looking out, we're still a few hours away now from dusk after we entered, Eastern Daylight Time a couple weeks ago. Actually, I kind of liked it, Alex, when we were on the standard time, up until the time change. First of all, I hate it when we spring forward, like losing an hour's sleep. I'm still recovering from it. This time change happened like 3 weeks ago, and I'm still not recovered from losing an hour of sleep that night. Oh, I just realized that. God, I got to look for my my wallet. It always falls. Oh, here it is. It always falls out of the pocket on these shorts. I'm wearing these basketball shorts today, and I should never wear these shorts because when I have my wallet in the pocket, it always freaking falls out. I could easily leave it somewhere. So I got to be more careful with that. But no, I actually liked it when we were on the standard time because whenever I would finish my show at 6, I'd walk downstairs here at the stadium and we'd have this beautiful sunset, like right at 6 o'clock off in the west. And now the sun doesn't set until like way after I get home. It's great. I'm still all thrown off by this time. 5:20, we're going to talk with Jamison Olive, lead writer at FloridaPanthers.com. So the Panthers have rematch with the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. They're in Carolina to play the second of a, you know how they do it, in the NHL this year, you tend to play like the same team back-to-back to minimize the travel. You keep playing the same division. Panthers have struggled against Carolina this year, and Carolina is now tops in the division, tops in the NHL. They beat us 5-2 on Tuesday. Closer game than the final score indicated. They had a couple of empty netters in that game. But I would plead with the Panthers tonight. Please keep our old friend Vincent Trocheck off the score sheet. I mean, Vincent Trocheck is always a good player, no matter who he's playing against. When he's playing against the Panthers, and that's his former team, he was a Panther for many years, and we love him. But when Vincent Trocheck plays against the Panthers, he's Wayne freaking Gretzky. Like, he's so good against the Cats. Tuesday, he had a goal and an assist. Guys, he's met the Carolina Hurricanes have met the Panthers 5 times this year, and Vincent Trocheck has 5 goals in 5 meetings with the Panthers this season. If you can keep Vincent Trocheck off the score sheet tonight, don't let him assist, don't let him score, then you've got a pretty good chance of winning this evening because Carolina has a number of good players, but Vincent Trocheck always comes back to bite the Cats in the ass, and it can get a little bit frustrating. We're going to talk about this trade that the Panthers made today. This has a lot to do, folks, with this is not going to be their last trade, I don't think, before the deadline on Monday. The trade made today, yeah, you got a couple of players in return, but this is really about clearing space for a bigger move. Pierre LeBrun tweeted today, full trade. Brett Connolly, these are the outgoing players. Brett Connolly, Riley Stillman, and Henrik Borgstrom, plus a 7th-round pick in exchange for Lucas Carlson and Lucas Wallmark. We got all of Chicago's Lucases. Just give us all your Lukai. Connolly, he writes, has 2 more years at $3.5 million average. Panthers are freeing up cap space as part of this. Hawks are using their cap space to net 2 young players. And George Richards from Florida Hockey Now writes, by sending Connolly to Chicago, the Panthers free up a chunk of salary cap space. In 2019, Connolly signed a 4-year deal worth $3.5 million per season. The Panthers are thought to be in the running for Buffalo left winger Taylor Hall, among others, and needed to free up some cap space. With the trade deadline coming Monday at 3, that's going to be cool because I'll be coming on right when the trade deadline expires. Oh, mark your calendars for Monday, hockey fans. Monday's going to be a really fun show here because 3 o'clock the trade deadline goes down. I get on the air at 3, so whatever the Panthers do, we're gonna break it down. Per capfriendly.com, the Panthers are projected to be around $18 million under the cap at the time of the deadline. The Panthers are looking for a center and a defenseman, but Hall, who won the Hart Trophy as league MVP with New Jersey a few years back, would give Florida some additional scoring punch. So that's very interesting. So don't look at the move today in isolation. Look at the move the Panthers made today as the precursor of something to come. Because on or before Monday, I think the Panthers are going to make a high-profile move. It's refreshing to be buyers. It's refreshing to be buyers at the trade deadline because you know that this team and this management is fighting for something special. Like they're very close. Like they're one of the best teams in the NHL on paper. They've been right up there as one of the top 3 teams in the league, for most of the season, points-wise, right? When you talk about total points, President's Trophy, President's Cup, which is given to the team with the most regular season points. They're very much in contention for that. So on paper, they're one of the best teams in the NHL. But still, you know that this team is not perfect. You know that this team doesn't have the experience and the DNA of going deep in the playoffs. So you're still trying to add as much ammunition as possible for the postseason to try and make a deep run. And Florida Panthers GM, Bill Zito, he's only been on the job since, August. And I don't think this guy's made a bad move. He's done more in 6 months, 7 months, whatever it's been, 8 months. He's done more in 8 months than Dale Talon did in a decade. It's crazy how much Bill Zito is getting done here as the Florida Panthers general manager. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what the Cats can pull off by the trade deadline. I heard this in Alex Aguirre's sports update, and I read this story earlier today as well. So they have authorities have revealed the cause of the Tiger Woods crash. Bros, he was driving more than 40 miles per hour over the speed limit when he crashed. 84 to 87 miles per hour in a 45 mile per hour zone. That's insane. Absolutely insane. And they actually think now Tiger has no memory of the crash. There were no witnesses of the crash. So they're going by the black box data and they're going by forensics, right? Because they analyzed the crash site and the damage to the vehicle. I think the black box did tell them approximately. That's how they figured out approximately how fast he was driving. So not only was he going over 40 miles per hour over the speed limit in a very dangerous, windy mountain road, they actually thought, did the sheriff, that at the time of the crash, and I heard Alex say that he hit when he actually impacted the tree, it was 75 miles per hour. Dude, he's so lucky to be alive. He is so lucky to be alive. And he was driving one of those Genesis SUVs. Those things are not cheap, but if you can afford one of those and you're safety conscious, go buy one of those Genesis SUVs, because if a person in that car could actually survive the crash that he suffered, that's a pretty goddamn safe car. So think about buying one of those if you're like a risky, bad driver and you drive too fast. That may be the car that you need to drive, because most cars he would have been dead instantly, okay? But God, how do you drive that fast on a road like that? That's just insane, absolutely insane. And they thought that one of the theories was that he actually accidentally accelerated faster because he meant to hit the brake, but he accidentally hit the accelerator. This dude should have never been driving himself. Tiger Woods, ever since he had the substance abuse issues, he should have had a chauffeur. He can afford it. Tiger, normal people like you and me say, hey, I'd love it if I had some guy driving me around all day, but I just can't afford it. That's not an issue for Tiger. I mean, does he enjoy driving that much that he doesn't want somebody drive? You sure are bad at it if you enjoy driving that much, man. You should have had a driver all along. And I wish him the best. I want him to get well soon. I'm not even thinking about him playing golf again. Like, I'm just like I was watching a couple of days ago. I was watching First Take, and like Max Kellerman was talking about how, I'd love to see Tiger come back and win a major. And then Stephen A. Smith, who I agreed with, is like, Max, like, take a step back, bro. I don't think he's ever going to golf again, but I don't care. Like, that was such a serious accident. I just want him to be able to walk again and live a normal life. Let's not think about golf right now. Like, let's think about Tiger actually getting back to the reality of living a somewhat normal life, because you'd be lucky to do that after the horrific accident that you suffered. You know, and I mentioned he's had the prior substance abuse issues. You know, the sheriff there did like announce that, he wasn't impaired. There's no evidence that he was, on any kind of drugs or impaired by alcohol. Everyone's really relieved by that, and that's fine. I'm glad he wasn't impaired. But, I mean, if you really think about it, isn't it just as dangerous to drive that irresponsibly fast than it is to be impaired? Like, believe me, I'm not advocating drinking and driving. I'm doing the opposite. That's terrible. But isn't it just as I don't care if you're stone cold sober. You're going to be driving 87 miles per hour on a windy mountain road with a 45 mph speed limit. Like, I'm sorry, that's just as bad as drinking while driving. And they're both terrible. Like, driving that irresponsibly fast, that's just as bad as DUI. Texting while driving on a road like that, or hell, any road, but especially a road like that, that's just as bad as a DUI. So when I see all these people like, oh, well, thank goodness, thank goodness he wasn't impaired, so it wasn't really his fault, he's just a bad driver. They're acting as if Tiger has no responsibility for what he did. Well, yeah, dudes, when you're driving 87, there's listen, I mentioned earlier, I don't always stick to the speed limit, so I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, but I'm sure as hell not driving 87 on a 45 on a windy mountain road. I know we don't have a lot of those down here, but I've driven through Austria. I've driven on the German Autobahn. I've driven in West Virginia, which is, driving in West Virginia. I've driven in L.A. I've driven probably on similar roads, maybe the same road that the Tiger crashed on, actually. I've driven on roads like that before, and you got to respect that kind of a road. You have to respect those roads. Like, you cannot I don't care if you're the only car on the road. If it's the middle of the night, there's nobody else out there. It's insane to me, to drive 80-plus miles per hour on a road like that. It's unfathomable to drive that fast on a road like that. Like, don't think that he has no responsibility for this just because he wasn't drunk. Like, you're driving that fast on that road is, to me, just as bad as being impaired, and it's just as bad as texting while driving. Like, listen, I know that I know that a lot of people drive a few miles per hour over the speed limit and get away with it because they're usually a little bit, like, to an extent, if you're 5 miles per hour over, 7 miles per hour, they might be pretty lenient about that, but you're driving like 40-plus miles per hour over the speed limit. That's felony speeds. And, I know that you mentioned that they didn't give him any sort of citation for driving that fast, but listen, they didn't give him a citation because the dude almost died. Like, it's just insult if you say, oh, by the way, we're also giving you an $8,000 ticket for driving at felony speed. That's unnecessary, okay? Like, the guy almost lost his life. You don't need to throw a citation on top of that. But people need to see this, and they need to realize that driving that fast it's really just as bad as being impaired or texting while driving. Like, that is insane to me. somebody said, who knows? And Tiger even said he doesn't remember the accident at all. Rafa said he probably passed out at the wheel, and that's what saved him, didn't tense up. There's definitely some, I don't know what happened to Tiger, but as far as like the passing out thing, there's definitely some truth behind that, because whenever you see these awful stories about accidents caused by a drunk driver, it's always the people that were hit by the drunk driver who suffer the worst of it. And the drunk driver usually gets away from it unscathed. Like, isn't that what happened with Andy Reid's kid? And it happens a lot. Like, whenever you see those stories, like a drunk driver hits another car, it's usually the people in the other car that get the worst of it. And the drunk driver just like walks away like, oh, nothing happened to me, which is awful. But I think the reason why that happens is when you're drunk, or if something happens, like you faint at the wheel, then you don't tense up, and that actually minimizes the injuries. So I think there is some science to back that up, guys. Hey, remember, we're streaming live on YouTube, so you can watch us live. If you pull up the live stream on YouTube, just search Onside Radio. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, by the way. If you find our live stream on YouTube, when you get in there, smash the like button, hit the thumbs up, right? Because the more likes we get, the more people's pages, home pages we show up in, the better the algorithm goes. So make sure you do that. And if you can't watch us live, if you're, in the car or something, you're not stationary, you can always listen to us live at onsideradio.com or on a bunch of different free mobile apps like the MyTuner radio app or the Radio FM app. Texter writes in, Tiger wantonly broke the law by driving 40 miles per hour over the speed limit. Yes, he should have been cited for breaking the law, but Tiger was treated as a celebrity. Maybe that's part of it. I also think that it's like when someone has an accident where they nearly die, like even if he's not famous, maybe they would have gone easy on him. I don't know. We're going to talk some hockey. We'll talk a little puck with Jameson Olive, lead writer at FloridaPanthers.com and host of Territory Talk. He's going to be with us when we come back here. Hey, Sundays, OnsideRadio.com continues to provide you the kind of sports talk that South Florida fans desire. Every Sunday at 7 a.m., tune in to the Sunday Sports Drop with Jazz Santana. Catch Jazz every week as he takes your calls and discusses the biggest stories in sports. That's the Sunday Sports Drop, 7 to 9 a.m., exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can now watch Onside Radio daily by subscribing to our YouTube and Twitch channels. Search Onside Radio. Log on, subscribe, rate, and review Onside Radio on YouTube and Twitch. Find out why Big O has a face for radio. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's home for real sports talk.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. They will be there for you when nobody else is, to help you, your family, your community. This is their selfless promise. This is their sworn duty, to protect, to serve, to help. They put themselves in harm's way for us. They come to the rescue at times when we need them most. First responders are making enormous personal sacrifices to keep showing up for us and fighting the good fight. Nearly 70% of all firefighters are volunteers. That means when they get injured or quarantined, they may not have a way to pay their rent or keep their family safe and fed. No matter who you are or where you live, when you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org and make a difference today.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Check this out. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, even this morning when I invited on our next guest, I didn't know the Panthers were making moves, so the timing could not be better than it is. Jameson Olive, lead writer at FloridaPanthers.com, host of Territory Talk. He joins us here on Onside Radio. Jameson, good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good, Donna. How's it going?
Doing really, really well. So let's talk about the trade before we preview the game tonight. So before we get into what maybe the long-term play might be here, let's talk about the short-term. So the Panthers send Brett Connolly, Riley Stillman, Henrik Borgstrom, plus a 7th-round pick to Chicago in exchange for all of their Lucases. We get Lucas Carlson and Lucas Wallmark, who has played here before, so we know Wallmark a little bit. What do you think about what the Panthers are getting back here in this deal?
Yeah, like I said earlier, Lucas's were BOGO today at Publix, so the Panthers just kind of double-dipped there. What they're getting back, I mean, you mentioned not to get too much in the long term, but it is kind of a longer-ish term play. I think this might be a move that precedes other moves for the Panthers because, of course, in moving Brett Connolly, all the best to him. But in moving him, they free up some cap space there. In order to do so, they had to give up Henrik Borgstrom, once the top prospect in the organization. Since then, had his ups and downs, but of course still has a lot of potential. And then Riley Stillman, which, is a guy that, I love talking to. I really like his game. I like his edge. But, the Panthers, that's the one thing they kind of do have excess of is those guys that project to maybe be, 6-7 defensemen in the league that are in their early 20s. They got a couple of those guys. You have guys like, Kierstead, who they just signed. They have Brady Keeper, who could be getting in the lineup tonight. In the AHL, they have Max Gildon, John Ludwig. So they have a lot of guys like that can do the same thing. So that kind of made him expendable, I think, in that sense. But all the guys going the other way were great guys when they were here with the Panthers. Wish them all the best. But in coming back, like you said, Wallmark, I don't know in too many sports a guy that's been acquired by the same team at back-to-back deadlines. That's a little funny. But I hear he's excited to come back. It's a guy that scored 10-plus goals twice in this league, still young, a good depth forward. The Panthers, he could get some games in. He could play a role here as we push towards the playoffs. And then the other Lucas, is a guy that played a little bit in the NHL this year, but mainly in the AHL recently, still kind of coming into his own, former 4th-round pick. So still kind of to be decided where his career is heading. So for the Panthers, like I said, it clears up some cap space. The Panthers have a ton of cap space right now heading into Monday's deadline. And I got to say, the only thing more exciting than a team that's, good and buying at the deadline is a team that's good buying and has a ton of cap space to make things happen at the deadline. So this could be, move number 2, because they traded Vinny Hinostroza a couple of days ago as well. So maybe all these little moves seem to be leading up to potentially maybe something bigger come Monday.
Yeah, there's definitely foreshadowing here, no doubt about it. And I've been saying throughout the show, Jameson, that I really trust Bill Zito because he's had the Midas touch since he took over as general manager. He's just done so many great things for this hockey club. Any idea what the big move could be? Like I see the name Taylor Hall thrown out there. Maybe it could be a big-name defenseman. What might be on your radar out there?
You can't really throw out too big a name because then you kind of set the bar too high that no matter what happens, maybe you wanted something different. But I think for the Panthers, maybe it isn't just one big name. Maybe it's 2 middle names. Let's not forget the Panthers. They have Barkov. They have Huberdeau. Tough to be losing Aaron Ekblad, but Mackenzie Weegar's a star on the blue line as well. They have star goaltending. So maybe they look at their team and say, maybe we just need a middle 6 forward and, a 4-5 defenseman, something like that. So they could swing for the fences. They could go for depth. Like I said, they have a ton of cap space to play with. And like you said, Bill Zito, everything he touches turns to gold. You got to trust what he's doing is going to be the right move. And let's not forget, he's not going to mortgage the entire future to go for it this year. This is Bill Zito's first year. He's trying to build a contender every year, Stanley Cup finalists, threat for years to come. But that being said, where the Panthers are in the standings with the talent they do have, with how good they look, you're definitely still going to put this team in a position to make noise once the playoffs come around. So it's going to be interesting to see who they go for. Like you said, big names out there like Taylor Hall, a lot of expiring contracts, Savard in Columbus, Foligno in Columbus is a veteran that could get moved. Looking around the league, there's a lot of names like that, but also potentially maybe there's a hockey trade. Maybe they trade for a guy that's got a couple of years left, a guy that's got some term. It doesn't always have to be at the deadline, guys coming in there on expiring contracts. So Bill Zito's done a ton of moves so far. Half of them I probably wouldn't have seen coming. So I think that's kind of the safest bet when it comes to Bill Zito, is maybe expect the unexpected.
I like that a lot. We're joined here by Jameson Olive from FloridaPanthers.com. So I'm looking forward to the game tonight. Obviously, I'm always a little bit nervous going up against Carolina, and we get to see our old friend Vincent Trocheck again. And Vin, as we know, and anybody who watches the Panthers over the years, like, we know Vincent Trocheck is a really good player. But Jameson, how come whenever he faces his old club, he turns into Wayne Gretzky? Like, I love him, but I want to keep him off the score sheet for once.
Well, especially when Troch was here, one of the things you always noticed about him was like that energy, that heart, and that big chip. He always had a chip. And I think that chip just gets a little bit bigger, when he plays against the Panthers. And, there's no ill will there. That was a hockey trade, still got a ton of friends on the team and whatnot. But I think just being a guy, Troch is one of those guys that can kind of Michael Jordan-esque, where you can just take a little bit of a slight and maybe blow it up into something bigger to really motivate yourself. And I think whenever he does play against the Panthers, he just does have that added motivation to, get back against his former team, get the win over his friends, things like that. So he's having a huge season against the Panthers, a really nice season in general. 15 goals, tied for the lead over there in Carolina. So the Panthers definitely have to circle him on the game plan tonight. They got to slow him down in the neutral zone. They got to one thing they really can't do tonight, and Trocheck almost had one the other night, is they got to stay off the penalty kill. They can't take any penalties. The Hurricanes went 2 for 4 on the power play the other night. So some self-inflicted wounds there by the Panthers last game. And I think, with the Carolina Hurricanes having the top power play in the league, that's maybe rule number 1 when you go into these games, is just stay out of the box.
Something I've been impressed at over the last couple of weeks is, we've seen the Panthers go through some adversity that comes from injuries. I mean, obviously a long-term one, unfortunately, with Aaron Ekblad, and that was a really, really tough injury that he suffered. We've seen Barkov and Hornquist miss time. We've seen recently Anthony Duclair missing time, and this team has still found a way to step up and win games. I mean, how important do you think that is, seeing the depth tested? Of course, we hope when the playoff comes around, everyone possible can be healthy and stay healthy. But in the meantime, how important is it to see the Panthers' depth tested and still come up with some big wins?
I think it's big because, shallow teams don't win the Stanley Cup. You got to be a deep team to win the Stanley Cup. You'd prefer for probably not the depth to be tested as much as it has been for the Panthers lately. But like you said, they've passed all these tests with flying colors. Should be getting Anthony Duclair back here at some point on the road trip as well. And then at that point, they're at full strength minus Aaron Ekblad. So that plus maybe some reinforcements coming in, at the deadline here could really spell a really good potential playoff run here for the Panthers. And I think the one thing that, the injuries do is it does force other guys to step up, to play bigger roles. And even then when they go back to their other role, I think that does give them all confidence, moving forward. So I think it is kind of nice to occasionally, pass the torch around there, let some guys play some bigger minutes than they're used to, get that experience to only make them better when they do go back to their former role.
Really good stuff here from Jameson Olive, lead writer at FloridaPanthers.com, host of Territory Talk. He also runs the Panthers Twitch channel. You been playing any games with the fans recently, Jameson? I still have to get on there, man. I'm so bad at video games, but I do want to start being more active on there with you guys.
You know what? We were really going strong, and then the season hit, and of course, especially this season, we're playing 4 games a week and all that stuff. So
that's true.
I've just been burnt out. So last month was actually the first month we hadn't done anything, but then a couple days ago, kicked off the month right. We got a stream on there, played some NHL with fans. We had, I think it was 40-ish on average people in there watching, talking Panthers, because it's not just about the games. It's kind of also just about, building a chat room, an interactive chat room for fans to come and talk about the team and things like that. So it's more of a community building thing right now in our eyes. And it was great to see, all the fans really stoked about the Panthers and on there just playing games, chatting, doing all that fun stuff. So, I love it.
Good stuff here, as always, from Jameson Olive. You want to follow him on Twitter at Jameson Coop. Jameson, enjoy the game tonight, my friend.
You too. Thanks, Donno.
Good stuff, as always, there from Jameson. This is funny. Seth Feldman writes in, my wife refused to break up with Trocheck when he got traded. Says he's still her boyfriend. He's one of those heartthrob guys, Trocheck. Good-looking dude. Really good-looking dude. Guy, I remember, Alex, the first time I took this is like probably 5 or 6 years ago. The first time I took my wife to a Panthers game, she was like, "Oh, I'm impressed. I'm never taking you to another game again." Like she's shopping for my replacement out there, man. Oh man, I don't. What is it, Rafa? What does this have to do with anything? He says, "Did you ever see the movie Due Date?" Who is Alex? You've seen it. Who
Yeah.
was that? Was Zach Galifianakis?
Yeah, and Downey Jr.
What was that? What's the relevance there?
They
What was
meet
Due
in the
Date
air.
about?
They meet in the airport. Robert Downey Jr. is flying across country. I forgot why, but he has to meet his wife, who's due for their firstborn, and then they meet at the airport on the same flight, and then it gets into like a wacky adventure because their luggage gets exchanged. They get kicked off the flight, and then it's about a cross country road trip with Zach Galifianakis and Robert Downey Jr. And then, like, some the adventures they get caught into. And then Jamie Foxx makes a cameo as well. Yeah, it's a funny movie. It's by the director of The Hangover, Joker. I forgot his name now. But, yeah.
Todd Phillips.
Yes, he's the director.
It's so hard to imagine that the same guy who directed that and The Hangover directed The Joker. Have you seen The Joker?
Yes, I did.
Unbelievable film. But
I thought it was great.
Like, I can't watch it a second time.
I haven't
It's
seen
so
it a second
depressing.
time. I haven't. I've only seen it once.
I do not understand how the same guy who directed The Hangover can direct that. Like, it's so dark. It's so dark, Joker.
I mean, like, essentially, like, The Hangover is pretty dark humor.
I guess.
It's obviously comedy. I'm just saying, like, in the levels of comedy, it's pretty up there in terms of profanity, like what it talks about, what it shows. So like, but no, it is a complete left turn from going to The Hangover, a trilogy, then going to do The Joker.
Like when I saw The Joker, this was of course before COVID. I saw The Joker in a packed movie theater. Okay, and the scene with the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix, with Robert De Niro, who played like basically the host of the Tonight Show. I mean, it was whatever they called it, like the fictional Gotham Tonight Show. Dude, that scene with Joaquin Phoenix and Robert De Niro, dude, I'm in a theater full of people. I don't know, it was a big theater, a couple hundred people, whatever it was, at Sunset Place. You could hear a pin drop in that theater during the scene with Joaquin Phoenix and Robert De Niro. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, because it's also kind of disturbing to even describe what happened in the scene. But it was such a powerful scene that a theater full of people was just completely silent. I mean, it's disturbing, but really gripping, incredible acting, powerful, and It's just I cannot believe that the guy who directed The Hangover could also direct that. It was crazy. Rafa says he passed out and nothing happened to him, and Robert Downey was awake, got all messed up.
That's right, in the movie, and because I remember, like I said, they get kicked off the plane, so they go on a cross-country road trip. They total the car because they get in an accident, but Zach Galifianakis, I think since he was asleep during the whole accident, the car getting flipped over and everything, he was not a single scratch on him. And then Robert Downey Jr. had to go to the hospital.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that makes sense now why he mentioned that earlier on in the chat room of going to maybe he fell asleep Tiger Woods maybe fell asleep at the wheel, and then
it was like the middle of the night, wasn't it?
I
when
think
he got
so.
in the crash? So I guess it's possible. Dude, I remember the closest I ever got to falling asleep at the wheel. I didn't, but the closest I ever got was when I was on a cross-country road trip with my friends. This was back in 2005 when we went. We drove to Cleveland and back to drive to the Dan Marino Hall of Fame induction in Canton. And, like, we drove back from Cleveland to Miami in one day, and it was, like, almost a 24-hour drive. Like, we took shifts at the wheel, but, dude, there were three of us. And one of my friends is as bad of a driver as Tiger Woods. So on the way up there, when we were doing three-man shifts, we realized what a crappy driver this one dude was. So my other friend and I just agreed we're not letting him take the wheel again. Like we're gonna split it up between the two of us, and he's gonna stay in the back because we're gonna get, like, we were joking obviously, but we were like, we're gonna get killed if we let him drive again. So on the way back, it was like a I don't remember what it was exactly from Cleveland to it was over 20. I think it was somewhere between 22 to 24 hours to drive. And, I think we split it up like 3 or 4 different times, but basically I did 12 hours. My buddy did 12 hours. I had the last driving shift, which was like up until like 4 a.m. And I came so close to falling asleep at the wheel. Like I kept almost shutting my eyes and then like springing back up. So that is that's a real issue, man. That is a real issue. I can understand why these truckers are always slamming Monster Energy drinks 24 hours a day, because that can be a real issue. 844-416-8123 is the number. That's 844-416-8123. Could there be a side hustle for Aaron Rodgers? I'm pretty interested in this. We'll talk about that and more when we come back here on Onside Radio. Hey, every day at Onside Radio, our hosts sit down at the round table to tackle the most important local or national sports headlines. The round table is podcasted daily, so search Onside Radio on all platforms, subscribe, rate, and review to listen to all kinds of station segments. OnsideRadio.com is the home for South Florida sports.
The man of the match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter Miami football. OnsideRadio.com.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces. Just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that. Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
The sport is headed in a direction where it's going to die because the fan base is dying. It's people my age or older that follow baseball. And we're dying. And so they're not getting any of the new fans. Young fans, the whole sport is all screwed up, dude. From the cheating scandals to the way they mismanage it, by the way, the way it has not gone and changed with modern times, the fact that baseball players are so freaking ignorant that they don't understand that they've got to market their own game. The wussiest thing in the world is you hit a home run on me, so now I'm going to plunk you. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
The Onside Zone with Big O. Weekdays 11 to 1 p.m. Only on OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
The Miami Marlins dropped a heartbreaking loss to the New York Mets in Game 1 of their series, 3-2. Anthony Bass blew the lead in the 9th inning. The Marlins up 2-1. Marlins have lost now 4 straight. They're back at it tomorrow. The Florida Panthers have made a 5-player trade with the Chicago Blackhawks. The Panthers are sending Brett Connolly, Riley Stillman, rights to Henrik Bergstrom, and a 7th-round pick to Chicago. And the Panthers are receiving Lucas Carlson and Lucas Walmark. The Panthers are back on the ice tonight against the Carolina Hurricanes. Puck drops at 7 p.m. Kim Durant made a perfect return last night, going 5-5 from the field, scoring 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists in 19 minutes of action. And the Nets beat Pelicans 139-111. On the eve of the Masters, the LA County Sheriff's Office has said excessive speed was the cause of Tiger Woods' February crash. Woods' SUV was traveling from 84 to 87 miles per hour in a 45 mile per hour zone. The SUV was going 75 miles per hour when it hit the tree. No traffic citations were issued. With the Onside Sports Update, I'm Alex Aguirre, and coming up, it's more of Man of the Match with Alex Donno right here at OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Want to get everyone's opinion on something for Thoughtful Thursday today. The springboard of this is Aaron Rodgers. Did you watch? I watched some clips. Did you watch his full episode on Jeopardy? I watched
just clips.
Yeah, just and like he did a really good job, Rodgers.
He did, yeah.
Very comfortable. You know, he's good in front of the camera. It's obvious he's a Jeopardy fan because I think you have to know the show to do as good of a job as he's done hosting it. So he filmed 10 episodes as a guest host of Jeopardy. And Aaron actually, he is campaigning to become the full-time host of Jeopardy because, of course, Alex Trebek sadly passed away. They haven't named his successor yet. They're having guest hosts on. Like, I don't really watch a lot of Jeopardy, but like I know Dr. Oz was recently hosting, and his episodes like did like the ratings were in the toilet. So Aaron Rodgers did a way better job than Dr. Oz did, from what I understand. And Rodgers is campaigning to be the regular host of Jeopardy. And here's the twist. He may not he wouldn't actually have to give up football to do this, okay? So this is not like Rodgers is saying, you know what, I'm going to retire right now and be the host of Jeopardy. He said, I don't think I'd need to give up football to do it. They film 46 days a year, he said. And that's right. So the way that Jeopardy does it is, like, they'll just film, like, a ton of episodes per day for 46 days, and then the rest of the year is just open. He says they film 46 days a year. I worked 187 days this year in Green Bay. That gives me 178 days to do Jeopardy. So I feel like I could fit 46 into that 178 and make it work, he said. It would be a dream job for me, and I'm not shy at all about saying I want the job. That's how I went into it. I want an opportunity to be in the mix. So he wants to be the full-time host of Jeopardy. You know, scheduling, it sounds like they can make it work. Like, if they can be flexible enough to work around football season, you know the ratings would be killer. Like people would regularly tune in to watch Aaron Rodgers hosting Jeopardy. So assuming they can make it work scheduling-wise, this seems like a win-win. So here's the Thoughtful Thursday question. I want to ask this to Alex, and I want to ask this to people on the text line and on the chat, okay? So Aaron Rodgers now has the chance to pursue like a dream job in addition to football. Like, he's talking about hosting Jeopardy is his dream job, which is kind of funny that a guy who's a star NFL quarterback actually has a dream job that doesn't involve being a star NFL quarterback. I find that to be interesting. What would be your dream job outside of what you do? Because maybe many of you and some of us, you're already working your dream job, and I'm happy for you. And this is right up there for me. I mean, being able to host shows every day and do what I do, it is a dream come true. But if you could do any dream job outside of what you already do, what would that dream job be? Alex, I have actually considered, I would also love to be a game show host. I'm not going to say that's necessarily top of the list for me, but being a game show host seems like a ton of fun. I've always enjoyed the work that people like, Bob Barker, may he rest in peace, when watching Price is Right growing up, I did watch a lot more Jeopardy when I was growing up. I loved like the Nickelodeon game shows back in the day. Double Dare with Mark Summers. What would you do with Mark Summers? Like, dude, that guy was killing it, okay? I think outside of that, I would love to be a film critic. I think that would be a lot of fun because I love giving I love when I watch movies. I love looking for like symbolism and hidden meaning, and like I think analyzing films is a lot of fun. I really enjoy watching a movie like 2001: A Space Odyssey and trying to interpret it. Like that to me is a lot of fun. Like I think I would love the challenge of being a film critic. Dude, it's the most unethical thing in the world, so I would never really do this. But can you imagine being a cult leader? I mean, can you imagine being like a real life L. Ron Hubbard and just having everybody on strings?
What would you make them do if you're the cult leader? Like, what would be like your first task or one of your rules as part of the cult?
Oh man, that's such a good question. There'd be a lot of orgies.
I was gonna reference Fight Club, like rule number 1, don't talk about Fight Club. I thought you were gonna have like a very simple rule like that for your cult. Clearly not. Right to the gun.
No, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't. I would like to think that if I were a cult leader, I would be like the most. Honorable cult leader, right? Like, I would want to promote kindness. I would want to promote love and understanding. Like I wouldn't have us like, held up in some bunker full of weapons or anything. Like, no, I would want this cult to be about kindness. Like I would really try to do this right. And I wouldn't be big on the shunning. That's one of the things that annoys me whenever you watch, like if you watch the documentaries on, like HBO had a really good one on Scientology. And I think one of the big issues, I would want to clean up the cult scene. Because I think one of the big issues with cults is they really bully you if you try to leave. And I think that's a problem. Like, I want you to want to be in this cult. Like, I want you to be here because you're truly enjoying it. And if you want to leave, the door is open. I'm not going to make your family members shun you. I'm not going to like blackmail you or do anything like the Scientologists allegedly do. I don't know, man. I think I could turn the reputation of cults around because cults get a really bad rap, and rightfully so. If I were a cult leader, I'd like to think we could do a little bit better. Okay? Like, I can be, we would be into a lot of conspiracy theories in my cult, but here's the difference, okay? A lot of conspiracy theorists, they want to fight against the Illuminati. I want to be in the Illuminati. Like, people are talking about, if I get all this knowledge, then I'm going to be part of the problem. Like, I'll give you the example is the movie The Matrix. You think about how hard Neo and Morpheus and Trinity and all the cast of characters, you think about how hard they worked to try and wreck the establishment. If I knew that the Matrix was real, I would want to be back in it. Like, I'd say, you know what, Pete, like I'm happy where I am. I'd be like Joe Pantoliano. Ignorance is bliss. I want to be back in the Matrix. So I would be. Oh wow, a texter writes in. Aaron Rodgers has been awful as the guest host of Jeopardy. I'm a huge fan of Jeopardy and has watched it from my childhood. Dr. Oz did a much better job than Aaron Rodgers. Ken Jennings has been by far the best guest host. Okay, so that's, and honestly, I cannot dispute that point because I didn't see any of Dr. Oz. I didn't see any of Ken Jennings hosting it. I only watched some clips of Rodgers, and I thought he did a good job, and people are talking about him like he did a good job. So, okay. Maybe you're right. If you're a regular Jeopardy viewer and you look at it a different way, I can default to your expertise. Oh, Bob Barker is still alive? I think I killed him off. Bromar Smelly says, dude, Bob Barker is still. Why did I think he was dead? Hold on, let me Google this. Are we sure?
Could have
about
sworn
this?
he was dead too.
Hold on, is he dead? Sorry, Bromar, that I don't trust you, but I have to make sure. For some reason, I thought he passed away. I don't see anything about him dying. I think you're right. Oh yeah, he's 97. My apologies to Bob. Wow. I tried to kill off Bob Barker. Yeah, I'm on his Wikipedia page right now. Born December 12th, 1923, age 97, says nothing about his passing. So I'm going to assume that Bromar Smelly is correct and Bob Barker is still alive. I'm happy for Bob. I'm really sorry that I tried to that I tried to kill him off. I feel terrible about this now. Oh, man. Rafa in Miami says, my dream job is a food critic with all expenses paid. You know, I've thought about this. My only hang-up about being a food critic is I've got a somewhat adventurous palate, but I don't literally love everything. Like, what if you're in a situation where you're, like, eating some really exotic cuisine and you just don't want it and, like, you kind of have to eat it for your job? So, I don't know. I'm not that picky, but I'm picky enough that I'd worry about being a food critic. 844-416-8123. We will, Herman Cuevas says he's TV dead. So, I mean, he's been off TV for, like, more than a decade. Drew Carey took over for him. But yeah, so I apologize. I feel so bad for Bob Barker. He is indeed alive, and he's 97 years old. We will wrap up this episode of Man of the Match when we come back here on Onside Radio. Hey, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m., Sean Stanley hosts the Squared Circle Digest. Now wrestling fans have a place to call home as Sean covers the very colorful world of wrestling. Tune in every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on the home for sports fans worldwide, OnsideRadio.com.
The Man of the Match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter Miami football. OnsideRadio.com.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can step, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can step, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now, it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
By the way, Alex, when we were just talking about dream jobs, I don't think I gave you a chance to give yours. Well, what would your dream job be? Outside of Onside Radio, of course.
My dream job would probably be, I don't know. I always had a thing about being a lawyer. I don't know.
Okay,
I've always
that's
wanted to
not
be
bad.
a lawyer.
I know. See, I know I would be a terrible lawyer. I know what my wheelhouse is, and I'm not a very. And I know it's odd based on what I do for a living. I like making my points, but I'm not great at arguing. And I
Right.
feel like you have to be great at arguing
And
to be a
cross-examining people, and
Right.
yeah, and under that pressure,
Yeah.
of practically interrogating somebody in a courtroom. I don't know. I just kind of like that. I was on the debate team in high school. I liked
Nice.
it a lot. It was fun. I kind of like that, but I've always been drawn to more, sports media, sports talk shows and whatnot. So, but if I had to pick one outside of this field that we're already working in, yeah, probably maybe like something in law. Maybe a lawyer, maybe being a police officer, something like that. I don't know.
Okay, that's nice.
Upholding the justice.
Oh, I like that. So you are you wouldn't want to be like a vigilante Cape Crusader or something. Like you could be Batman.
No, because then I
Real
look like
life.
a grown ass man running around the city with a cape on or something like that.
It's funny you say that because they do a pretty good job in comic books and movies, like making it look cool. But if you've actually seen, like if you've ever been to like to the Vegas Strip or Hollywood Boulevard in California,
Mhm.
and you see like the people who dress up like superheroes to try and like get you to pay to take
Yeah.
pictures, they always look goddamn ridiculous. So it's like they do, like in the movies they make it look like Batman looks really cool, but then when you see a guy in a full Batman suit walking next to the Chinese theater in Hollywood,
It's
he,
Adam
he
West.
looks like an idiot. well, not even that, because like I've seen some dudes who are actually kind of jacked who do it, or at least like they have like the fake muscles in the costume, so like they don't look flabby or anything. But still, like when you see a grown man in a Batman suit, even if it's a good Batman suit, walking down the street in real life, it looks really stupid. So they do a great job. And also, I can remember years back, I think they were inspired by the movie Kick-Ass. Like there were these people in Seattle, like Phoenix Jones was like the main one, who was like he was a professional MMA fighter, but not a very good one. But he moonlighted as a vigilante, and he'd had like a full costume, and he would walk around the streets of Seattle just looking for criminals to fight, basically. Because like for some reason in Seattle they had like laws that were friendly for like vigilante, like whatever. I don't maybe I need Alex the lawyer to explain it to me, but I guess that there was like some.
I am not a lawyer,
right? But well, I mean, but you want to be, okay? So apparently there was like I don't know if they're really friendly to like citizens arrests out there or whatever it is, but so whatever, like the laws in Seattle were like friendly for people to dress up like superheroes and like pick fights with criminals. And I can remember like there was like a whole team of these vigilantes in Seattle they mostly did it for publicity. Like I don't know how many serious crimes they actually stopped. They mostly did it for publicity. But like they had pretty good costumes and they were in pretty good shape, but they looked like buffoons. So it's not the same in real life, man. Rosendo says, my greatest dream is still to work for the United Nations or be a diplomat. That's not bad. I mean, diplomats lead a good life, bro. That's not a bad shout at all. All right, that's going to do it for the show today. We'll be back with you guys at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Huge thanks to Alex Aguirre. Huge thanks to Kyle Krabs, Alphonse Sidney, and Jameson Olive who joined us. We're going to be loaded tomorrow, guys. Already confirmed. We're going to have Omar Kelly on for his weekly spot tomorrow. We're going to have Lee Sterling on to make, and God, I need Lee Sterling so bad. I've had a terrible week. So I need Lee Sterling to snap us out of the funk to give us some picks tomorrow. We're actually going to talk some WrestleMania with Jim Varsalone from the Miami Herald, and we're going to talk some soccer with Frank Crivello. So we're going to have a lot of good people on tomorrow to chat with us. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow, 3 p.m. here on OnSideRadio.com.